Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to America's premier short track tonight in Henrico County, Virginia, for the 9th round on the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series, live for the ProGeek Cup Virginia 200. We are at the virtual Richmond International Raceway at a day race, just as we saw a couple of hours ago for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, guys. And I'll tell you what, we're hoping that we see a little bit of that action on the track tonight, because we go at it short track style for the 9th round of 12 in this 2016 segment 1 of competition. And we're happy that you're joining us tonight live on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. We're happy to have you along with us. Topside along myself, Evan Pasoko, going to be joined by Brian Macklin and Justin Rose now in just a moment. And downstairs is LSRTV's producer Cisco Scaramouza getting us to you tonight. This is a fun racetrack, Brian, but it's interesting because with the change in schedule for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, guys, as we follow that schedule, means here tonight also we're going to be doing this race in daytime conditions at Richmond International Raceway, which is more so uncommon. Also, you normally get to see nighttime races here on the sim, so these guys have to make a couple of late adjustments really in the past week to try to figure out what it's going to take to get around here with the sunshine and down on the asphalt.
Yeah, it's definitely a big change for all of these drivers. We're all so used to going out here and running under the lights and having a lot of grip in the track because there's no sun beating down on the track. Normally you'd see these guys be able to get around here about a second faster than what they're running in qualifying right now. But tonight we're going to see these guys running in daytime, and they're going to have a hot, greasy track that's going to make these guys really out of control all night long. It's going to be a lot of fun. Right now Matt Busa's on top with a 21.885. He's been fast. He was fastest in practice at a 21.932, so he actually sped up a little bit in qualifying. He's looking to try to go out there and win this race here tonight. The interesting thing that I want to point out is we've had 3 short tracks on the schedule so far this season at Phoenix, Bristol, and Martinsville, and Ray Alfala has not won a single one of those. We're at another short track. He might not be able to get it done tonight, but then again, he might want to prove a point and try to get up there and win this race just to say, hey, I can run at the short tracks too.
And to note, through the 8 races so far this season, Ray Alfala not only leads the championship standings, but he has 5 trips to victory lane, and he hasn't gone more than 2 weeks without a trip to victory lane on the season. Adam Gilliland took home the checkered flag just 1 week ago at the Bristol Motor Speedway, so Ray Alfala wants to keep that trend continuing. He does have a fast race car. He's looking for a top 10 starting spot here in the qualifying session. You can never count him or some of these other big names out of it by any means. Going to be a long night of short track action, and we're happy that you're going to be joining us. 200 laps and 150 miles start to finish in tonight's ProGeek Cup Virginia 200. And as we get set to drop the hammer and go green, we'll go down trackside for tonight's opening ceremonies, down with Jaden Berkey for the performance of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The virtual Thunderbirds now fly overhead, and we're set to rock and roll for the 9th round on the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series. Let's take a look trackside at your ProGeek Consulting LLC starting lineup for Richmond International Raceway. Matt Busa making a record 3rd pole position. He leads all active drivers through 9 races on the season. The 21.885 fastest lap we have seen this afternoon. Going to put him on the top of the board. And Josh Parker's number 18, a big improvement from 16th in practice, will round out that front row and start in second. Michael Conti, the number 5 Chevrolet, he'll be to the inside of row 3, the peak entry in 3rd, and alongside him, the number 71 Mitchell Hunt. And starting in the number 4 spot, Adam Gilliland will round out your top 5 qualifiers.
Ray Alfala driving the number 27 Alfala Tech Ford Fusion. He's going to start in the 6th position. Trey Edson will start in the 7th position. Justin Fuller will start 8th. Corbin Hemstreet's going to start 9th. And rounding out the top 10, driving the number 20, Chad Coleman will start 10th.
Jordy Lopez Jr. going to be the number 11 spot. That's the number 40 Toyota. Jordan Hightower, the Pennzoil Ford, in 12th. 13th tonight going to be the number 12 Infinite Creative Solutions entry of Casey Tucker. Timmy Hill to the outside in 14th position. And 15th is Ken Baum Jr.
Anthony DeBarro will start 16th. E.J. O'Rourke will start 17th. Brad Patton is 18th. Brian Blackford is 19th. And rounding out the top 20, Joshua Hanner.
Matthew Moose will start tonight in 21st, 22nd, Mitch Rollo, Tyler Dalton, 23rd, Paul Fugate, season debut in 24th, and 25th is Joy Woods.
Adam Benefield will start in this 26th position. Greg Spears takes 27th, 28th goes to Tyler Tucker, 29th goes to Jesse Kovacs, and Garrett Smithley will round out the top 30.
Final car to take a qualifying effort, 31st for Matthew Quick. Provisional is going to go to 32nd, Bentley Glazer. J.D. Laird, 33rd, maybe starting from the pit lane. John Gorlinski, 34th. Austin Jones, 35th. And John Wilco in 36th position. So the field doubled up at this 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway, America's premier short track, getting set to host the 9th race on our 2016 calendar, and what's going to be the 4th to last event in the Segment 1 season. The light's going to go off on top of the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car this time by. We're going to drop the green next time. Let's take a look at the specifics of this Richmond International Raceway, Brian. 0.75 miles in length, 14 degrees in the turns. But most importantly, maybe the single car speed not going to be the key factor tonight. I think having a nose there for the last lap might be.
Yeah, aerodynamics is going to play a little bit of a factor here. Not as much as at some of the speedways, but you do want to try to keep your car clean for as long as possible. You can get a little bit of damage and still be okay, but if you tear it up too much, you're going to be off the pace a little bit. You're going to see these guys fighting for the bottom on fresh tires, but as the tires wear off, you might see them try to search around for a second or maybe even a third groove. We saw it a lot today in the Cup race. We might see these guys try to do it here tonight.
The inside, the name of the game for your pole sitter, Matt Busa, elects to start on the inside of the front row. The pace car down and away. We're happy to have you with us on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Green flag in the air and underway for Richmond International Raceway we go for the Virginia 200. And a good challenge on the outside. Josh Parker, the 18. He's not giving up on Matt Busa with the 34 Toyota. He'll take the lead down the back straightaway. The 18 gets P2. Michael Conti in 3rd. And side by side from there on back is Gilliland. Looking to go back-to-back at victory lane after last week at Bristol. He goes to the bottom on Mitchell Hunt in the battle for 4th.
Everybody fighting for the bottom as they complete lap 1 and begin lap 2. Adam Gilliland's trying to make the move on the number 71 of Mitchell Hunt. He's almost clear as they work down the back straightaway. He is clear, and we have a caution. Caution on lap number 2 back towards the back of the pack here. I see a couple of slow cars. It does look like we have the number the number 9 of Austin M. Jones. He is smoking back there, as well as the number 27 or 77 of Tyler Tucker.
Yeah, the 77 machine of that 77 entry. That's Tyler Tucker. A big checkup down in turn number 1. He had the 43 of Garrett Smithley on the bumper. Got 1, not 2 shots in the back end after the outside slowed up a little bit sooner than we expected the 43 to. Look like the 77. Check it up for Adam Benefield. Got hit in the back end. And we saw Tucker go hard into the inside of retaining wall, the pit road wall. Jets right out to the yellow line down in the entry at turn 1. You got a fortunate victim in that one as you saw the replay on your LSRTV second look. Number 9 machine, nowhere for Austin M. Jones to go. He got turned and went nose first, nosedive into the safer barrier, the concrete wall rather, on the inside of the racetrack. So an early yellow, just 2 laps in, well deep in the pack though, outside the top 20. Pit road open for service. None of your leaders coming in this time. You will see a couple of those cars 25th on the back come in for not only service and damage repairs, but as well, a lot of the guys at the back of the pack like to come down, take 4 tires whenever they have the ability to, so a fair amount of cars going to trickle down.
Among one of those drivers that did come to pit road, he was running third when the caution came out. Michael Conti came to pit road to get 4 tires and fuel. Not really sure. Maybe he felt something wrong with the car and just felt like he needed to come in, or maybe he decided he wanted to go back and have some fun. I'm not really sure what was going on there, but he's going to restart towards the back of the pack here. It's going to be fun to watch him try to come up through the field on this next restart. I will say we did a good job here. We got past the start-finish line this week. Last week we had a hard time just getting to the start-finish line in the opening green, so these guys at least made it past that point here, and I'm not sure what happened back there. That was kind of crazy, but hopefully these guys settle it out and we can have a nice little green flag stint here. This is a very fun racetrack once the tires wear out and they can skate around a little bit. I think you'll see a lot of really good racing once the tires start to wear off.
Yeah, so he'll take that peak antifreeze and coolant Chevrolet to the back of the field. May want to hang out back there, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see the 5 working his way through. It is interesting, though, for a short track event. Laps obviously short. These guys were knocking off high 21-second lap times at 21.8 and a 21.9. Made up the front row with Busa and Parker. 22 seconds, you'll drop to 23 when the tires begin to fall off. The lap times are very quick here at Richmond International Raceway, but it is a long event at 200 laps, so not sure if it's a strategical move by Conti to try to get out of the fray and drop back. He most definitely has time, 194 laps this time around to get the job done, but I think most people would prefer to be in the position that you find that Guilford Sim Racing Toyota in. Matt Busa, who leads the way, really didn't have an opportunity to get challenged on that restart there, got out in front of the battle for third and then fourth behind him, and then they dropped the yellow after they came out of 2 for the second time.
One thing I do want to bring up, going back to last week at Bristol, this is another short track, and you're going to see a lot of tempers be brought out because of the short track racing and the way that this racing goes. The mentality of these drivers gets a lot more aggressive. And one thing I do want to point out is last week in the closing laps at Bristol, we saw a little bit of an issue between EJ O'Rourke and Matt Busa. That would be very interesting. EJ actually was talking a little bit before the race, saying that if he gets to Matt Busa, he is going to take care of him. He's going to take care of business. So that could be a little interesting if EJ finds his way to the back bumper of Matt Busa. We have to keep an eye out for that. Lights are off on the iRacing Ford First Mustang. So when we go back around this next time by, we're going to go back green and we're going to rack them and stack them and try to get at it once again. And Evan, I have a feeling that that could be a very exciting battle if EJ finds his way to Matt.
He's riding right now 15th in the Papa's Hardware GMT entry. A little bit deeper in the pack, so Matt Busa's rebuttal right now is I'm taking care of it by leading the race up front. It'll be interesting to see if those guys find each other at some point, because just like Bristol, Richmond, a track where you're going slow enough. If you want to get physical, you want to move somebody up out of the way. Good example there would be Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch just a couple of hours ago. These guys certainly have the freedom to do that. I would like to think as we delay the restart, we're going to go green the next time around, that we're not going to see a lot of beating and banging. Brian, at least by choice, 8 laps into a 200-lap event. You'll see these guys intentionally start to get a little bit more physical down the line, but it is a long line of race cars going down into turn 1. We saw that opening yellow flag happen after a big accordion effect on the outside. These guys are 15 rows deep. The guys in the middle might get bounced around a little bit here.
Yeah, everybody's going to try to be patient early on because of how many laps this race is, but as we get closer to the end, you're going to see patience start to get thin, and you're going to see these guys get more aggressive, and that's when you're going to see more cautions. Cautions breed cautions. As we get closer to the end, you're going to see that happen.
The lights off at a pace car, gonna dive down this time. For the first time, we'll take the American Ethanol restart at a turn number 4. Green flag waves the back at it. Good jump by the 34 again. Parker gonna keep the nose to the outside into turn number 1. Thinks about challenging it for a side-by-side battle. The inside gonna be open and he'll take that spot. So your top 2 single file, 3 wide deep in the pack, but the battle for second rages on. And a big run on the outside. Mitchell Hunt swings it to the inside. He'll take third away from Gilliland.
Yeah, Adam's not done with him, though. He's going to try to look to the inside as they work down the front straightaway. He's got a nose there. Is he going to try to stick it in? He decides to think better of it for the time being. That's going to allow Al Fallow to try to work his way around on the outside. Not going to be able to get the run. Now here comes Adam once again, looking to the inside of Mitchell Hunt, but once again chooses to stay behind him for the time being. Ray Alfalla now is hung out on the outside, trying to battle with Trey Edson for what would be the 5th position once they sort this all out. Trey is doing a great job holding that inside line and keeping Ray from being able to get to the bottom. He's got Justin Fuller right behind him as well, trying to sneak in there and get underneath Ray. Not going to be able to do it right now, but Ray is almost, actually got in line right there. I thought he was going to try to slide underneath Trey. He decides to get in line for the time being. Now he slots in the 6th position.
And that one of Trey Ensign, the Aftermath Motorsports entry, gets in front of Alfala. Second time tonight, the driver of the 27 restarted on the outside lane. Started at P6, he still runs P6. Hasn't been that big of an issue for him so far. Let's see what Justin Fuller can do on the outside of the racetrack. The DOS Energy Toyota gonna lose a spot to the 40 of Jordy Lopez that time. 20 gets a little bit hot down into turn 3. That's the timscorner.ca entry of Chad Coleman, and sideways out of turn 4. That Toyota every which way but straight. It gives Fuller a run, but he can't get clear. Those two continue to battle side by side for P8.
Yeah, the battle rages on down the back straightaway. Justin Fuller got a good run off the corner, but not able to clear Chad Coleman as they get to turn 3. So Coleman's going to keep the inside as they work through 3 and 4. This time it looks like Fuller's going to have the momentum. He is. He's going to clear Chad Coleman as they cross the start-finish line. He's going to take command of that 8th position and finally be able to get back to the bottom of the racetrack. So that battle settles down for the time being. We look back to the front real quick. Matt Busa has pulled out to a little bit over a half a second lead over Josh Parker. Josh is holding off Mitchell Hunt and Adam Gillen. It almost looks like he might be holding those two drivers up right now. They have been all over him the last couple of laps, but they have not been able to get the run they need to make a move on him right now. But rest assured, they're going to start trying to find a way to get around him. The more they see Matt Busa pull away, it's up to almost a 7/10 of a second gap right now, and Josh Parker is doing everything he can to hang on to that second position.
Coleman can go to the inside on the 50 with Justin Fuller. A little bit of a nudge to the left here coming out of turn 2. Made sure that inside lane was open up, and the drag race at the start-finish line going to give Fuller the nose advantage. But down to turn 1, we can give Chad Coleman the spot. 51 trying to fight back, and a good run center off. Going to keep him up there. Remember, we just saw Justin Fuller use the outside of the racetrack to maintain a position in this battle. Coleman was about 6 inches short of being able to get clear, and now the 51 right back at it, and still in P8, just by a nose at the start-finish on it. Justin Fuller keeping him honest, but this time on the inside of turn 1, Chad Coleman looks to get the job done, and he will, as that 51 walks it all the way up to the fence, a little bit sideways. So Fuller now back down to 9th, that in front of these guys, I mentioned Jordy Lopez Jr., the 40, already up 4 spots after starting in 11th. He's trying to close in on the 27, Ray Alfala, at a battle for what would be P6, and in front of them, into the inside, goes Trey Ensign. He's going to put on the pressure to the 71 of Mitchell Hunt, who gets stuck to the outside after Gilliland made a move on him for 4th.
Yeah, Adam Gilliland made that move and opened the door for Trey Edson to get underneath of Mitchell Hunt. Now that's going to open the door for Ray Alfala to try to get under Mitchell Hunt. Trey Edson is battling hard with Mitchell Hunt for the time being. If he gets clear, that's going to allow Ray Alfala. They almost make contact in the middle of the corner. Trey slid up the track in the middle of the corner and almost got into the door of Mitchell Hunt. He's going to have to try to keep it down there. He goes off into turn 3 once again, trying to clear Mitchell Hunt as they come off turn 4. Not able to do it. Mitchell gets a great run off turn 4. Is going to try to get that momentum down the straightaway, but not able to clear Trey yet. He's going to do it again down here in 1 and 2. These guys are putting on a heck of a show early on. I'm really impressed to see how well this outside line is working. You're seeing these guys actually be able to maintain positions and actually hold off guys on the outside line. I did not expect to see that this early on in the run. They're doing a very good job, and that's a very good sign for later in the race once these tires really start to wear out.
Without a doubt, by the numbers, the inside still the better place to make a move, but the outside not impossible. These guys get a beat and bang in turn 1. Edson entered a little bit high, got into the 71 twice that time at a 2. He'll turn the 71 coming off of turn number 2. Caution flag will fly. Mitchell Hunt gets spun around in a battle that continued to rage on for the number 4 spot. A little bit of contact in 4, a little bit of contact in turn number 1, Brian, and we'll take a second look. I really just don't think either of those cars got settled, and you saw that one of Edson kept walking it up and up the hill. Eventually, they ran out of room, and he takes the 71 out. Mitchell Hunt gets spun around, and now the yellow flag out for the second time tonight at lap 21.
Yeah, that all began going off into turn 1. Trey was trying to arc the corner. He went up the track to try to make the corner. Mitchell met him in the middle. They were coming together. They made contact. They got him all out of shape. And then off to turn 2, Trey Edson clipped the apron. It upset his car and sent him up into Mitchell once again. And he just was not able to keep it off the door of Mitchell Hunt, and that ended up turning Mitchell around. Unfortunate circumstances, but that is what short track racing is here. And you see these guys are on pit road now. Race leaders on pit road. We're going to have Matt Busa leading them down.
We remember that Michael Conti came down in the number 5 earlier, gave up the number 3 spot through that run. He's only able to go up to the number 18 position. So we'll see if that peak entry can maybe pull a strategy call to make up for some lost time. But meanwhile, up in the front of the field, Matt Busa, third time he's been on pole this season at 9 starts. He leads the best out of all drivers. Him and Ray Alfala, only drivers top 10 in the championship to have a pole on the year, and no problem for him. 4 tires, gas, and go. It is going to be Matt Busa off at the pit lane, followed by Josh Parker, followed by Gilliland. Ray Alfala was able to find himself into the number 4 spot after we saw the contact in a battle for P4 that brought out the yellow. That's where he exits. Trey Edson came in P5. He will also come out of the pit lane in the number 5 spot. Couple of problems early, though. Have 33 drivers on the lead lap of the 36 that started. Tyler Tucker, Garrett Smithley, Austin Jones, all behind the wall through this point. Just 24 laps in of the 200 in tonight's contest. Staying out at the front of the field, you'll see the number 9 machine in front. Jones 16 laps down in 36th position. In a position where Brian, it sucks at the short track, and he's going to be out there for the next 175 laps doing it off pace, but just trying to log laps and really salvage tonight. Hopes that a couple of people drop out of this race. He can pick up a couple of spots from then. Not realistically having a shot of anything much better than maybe a P30 or a P25. It depends on the rate of attrition in this race, but he's going to stay out there and stick it out to see what he can do. Matt Quick, by the way, the number 89 Chevrolet, only driver on the lead lap to not come down pit road last time. He stayed out, took a bonus point for leading a lap. He comes in for service this time, and it'll drop him back to the back of the pack and put Matt Busa back in P1.
Yeah, back to your point about Austin Jones, he's just out here at this point, just like you said, trying to log laps and see if he can pick up a few spots. And if this race goes anything like we saw last week at Bristol Go, he could get a lot more than just a P30 or a P25. I believe, if I remember correctly, back at Bristol last week, we had a guy finish inside the top 20 that was 15 laps down. So there's a very strong chance if this race goes like we saw last week that he could get a lot more than that, which is valuable points towards this championship battle, and it could really help him as far as moving up in the standings a few spots. So I like this call. You got to try to get what you can, and you might get lucky and get more than what you expected.
You never know. It's all part of the game. You got to be out there on track if you want to be able to take advantage of it. Somehow, light's going to go out on top of the base car this time, so we will double them up and look for the second American Ethanol restart on the evening. Going to be the same front row that we've seen all race long so far, just 26 laps in. Busa choosing the inside, Josh Parker choosing the outside. We've seen a battle for third, we've seen a battle for fourth, but so far P1 and P2 have been rather civil so far. Going through the first set of corners coming off of the restart. We'll see if that 18 of Josh Parker can do anything. The outside has slowly been coming into effect here tonight. We've seen 2 or 3 moves inside the top 10 on the outside of the racetrack so far. If Parker can keep a nose out there, he might be able to have some fun with the 34. The pace car down and away, though, to the restart zone. Green flag waves. Third time tonight we dropped the hammer. Second time off the caution flag. And they're door to door down to turns 1 and 2. Also side by side for third behind Parker. He wants to challenge Busa off the corner, still there in a battle for the race lead.
Josh Parker still there, door-to-door with the 34. Matt Busa still there, wheel-to-wheel for the lead. The 8 of Adam Gilliland going to try to sneak by on the inside. He's to the inside of the 27 of Ray Alfala. And this time by at the start-finish line, it's going to be Josh Parker. Lead change, 8 thousandths of a second at the stripe. Busa battling back on the bottom. He's still in the preferred line. He's digging hard. It's still wheel-to-wheel off turn 2.
They rubbed a little bit coming off at turn 4 the last time, but Busa was sideways on the front. It gave Parker the advantage this time. He'll get him clear coming off the turn, and Matt Busa going to go back to the point. After just 1 lap, Parker gets the bonus point. He's now down into number 2 spot, and it is 4 cars lined up on the inside. Busa, Parker, the 8 of Gilliland, the 1 machine of Ensign, all up against the 27 on the outside. Ray Alfala trying to do something on the outside of the racetrack. The Alfala Tech Ford to be P4 this time by, but if he can't get in front of that 8 machine, he risks falling outside the top 5, depending on how many guys getting up on him on the inside. But the outside lane, Brian, coming into effect much earlier than we were expecting. Gilliland done win that battle for P4, and I think the 27 is going to find a spot in line unless Edson forces the issue in turn 3. And I think this time, though, it looks like Alfala going to be able to get back to the gas, though. Try to take over P4, he does.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with how well that outside line has worked. It's not the preferred groove as far as being up there to be fast, but you can definitely maintain and hold your own on the outside line if you get challenged for a position, which bodes well for late race battles for the win and possibly for other positions throughout the race. That has been very impressive as we go on board with the aid of Adam Gilliland. You see him running in the third position trying to track down Josh Parker. But yes, I'm very impressed, and I still think once the tires wear out and you see these guys really start skating around, that's when that outside line is really going to come into play, because they're very loose off the corners. You see Adam now trying to make a move on Parker. Parker got a little sideways off the corner and blocked Adam actually down the back straightaway. Now he gives him a shot off turn 4. These guys are racing hard early on. This is what you talk about, short track racing, short track tempers. Adam is a little upset with how Josh is racing him at this point, and he showed it with his displeasure by hitting him. We have more contact off turn 2.
They're getting beat on each other's door. They hang on. That all started the last time at a turn 2. Parker got a little bit sideways. The 8 tried to make a move. He shut the door. There's contact. Edson, he'll get into the door. The number 18 and around goes the 18 Chevrolet, and he'll get tagged. I think coming through was Michael Conti, who's going to get him with the right front of that car. Caution flag out for the 3rd time tonight, and just a little bit too much contact for that one to continue on. We dropped the yellow again, Justin, and that kind of like the second yellow that we saw. You get one piece of contact that it seems like they just can't get off each other. The 18 bobbled in 2, and the 8 machine hesitated to go to the outside. The 18 blocked that position. Gilliland didn't have enough time to get to the inside. He showed his displeasure, got to the bottom, and then it was hard to tell if Edson moved up or the 18 came down. It looked like they just kind of met each other in the middle of the corner, and then that when the 18 goes around in front of the field, I think at least 1 or 2 other cars might have picked up some damage trying to get around him.
Yeah, well, the old saying goes, at least the advertising slogan that is, Virginia is for lovers, and I have a feeling there's going to be no love lost between the 8 of Adam Gilliland and the 18 of Josh Parker. And for Josh Parker, all he was trying to do there, you just saw the replay right there, and Trey Edson, I hear, just missed his pit stall, but between Trey Edson, Adam Gilliland, and Josh Parker, those three, no love lost between them. And I tell you what, I'm telling you, short track racing, and you just seen right there on the replay, though, guys, the 18 of Josh Parker tried to force his way in, and unfortunately Trey Edson was already there, and around he went.
So it's going to go from, it looked like it was going to be okay for Edson. He's the one in that mix that didn't get turned around. He made a break for the pit stall, eventually missed it, so he'll come back out onto the racetrack and has yet to get service under this caution flag. Timmy Hill, the number 4 Toyota, staying out to take over the race lead. He'll get a bonus point, and I think you'll see that 4 and the 1 both be coming back down to the pit lane this next time around. But how about the pit calls down on the pit lane? The 46 machine of Anthony DeBarro into the stall, 4 right side tires out, and he should go to the race lead, assuming the 4 and the 1 do come in. Matt Busa coming out of the pit road in the number 2 spot. He was the first driver out, though, on 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. He'll be right now scored provisionally P5, and a good pickup for Ray Alfala. 3rd driver off of the pit lane, could put him to the inside of row 2. He has not had good luck tonight on the restarts. He's been up top all 3 times on the drop of the green flag and off of our 2 yellows so far. So maybe the Alfala Tech Ford get to catch a break on this cycle.
Certainly could, and as far as that goes, it does appear like the 4 of Timmy Hill, the 1 of Trey Edson, look like they will continue to stay out, and that's going to move Anthony DeBarro up to the 3rd spot with that 2-tire call. And you have to wonder, these guys on older tires, and especially DeBarro with just 2 tires, they got to be hoping for a quick yellow, otherwise they're going to find themselves easily going backwards through the pack, because Richmond, the track surface itself is starting to get a little bit older, starts wearing on them tires pretty hard, and with the softer tire in this iRacing.com build for the A-car, the Gen 6s, if you will, those guys really start burning them up after about 5 to 6 laps or so, and then you have to wonder, we were out there for, 20 laps between cautions, thereabouts, 15, 20 laps or so. You have to think, Evan, these guys up front, how long are they going to have to go before they've really seen the next caution, because it's really the big gamble here.
So the lights go off on the pace car. Timmy Hill elects to stay out, and I think while Trey Edson would have liked to come down for service, it would have dropped him well outside of the top 20. He could easily be in 26th or 27th. But again, we saw Michael Conti pit 6 laps into this race, take tires. he's back in 14th. So while he is working his way through the field, the number 1 machine is hoping that if he can just not lose 10 spots or so, just stay in the top 10, maybe not even challenge for the race lead, just stay up there in the conversation, get to the next yellow, hope for a shorter stint here. He can try to get back on cycle with everybody else. So no tires on the front row, 2 tires to the inside of row number 2 for the 46 and 4 for everybody else. Green flag back in the air and side by side to turn 1 we go. Timmy Hill on the inside, Trey Ensign on the outside, and a quick run. Here comes Matt Busa on the 4 tires. He'll get second already from Ensign, and he eyes the race lead down to turn 3.
Timmy Hill going to shut the door on the 34 of Busa, the 27 of Alfala. He's going to dig to the inside of Trey Edson in the 1. The 51 of Justin Fuller. He's going to put that NOS Energy Toyota right to the inside of the 46 of Anthony Navarro. And already you're seeing 4 tires, much better than 2, and even better than 4. A battle for the lead and a battle no more. Busa's got it. Alfala going to duck into line. It's going to be 2 for 1 there on the back straight. Oh, trouble!
46 sideways, the 46 is sideways. They go 5 wide in turn number 4, and somehow they hang on for the time being. 5 wide to turn number 1. Look at the number 3 of Brad Patton. The 3 Toyota splits the gap with 2 high and 2 low. The 5 of Conti up the nose of Adam Gilliland, and somehow there's no yellow when we stay green. 5 wide down to turn number 1. They made it work.
How did that happen? Holy moly. The 3 of Brad Patton, he's been on a charge. He's basically on a tear. He started 18th, was all the way up inside the top 10 before the caution. And John Gorlinski in the 80 machine, he's up from the 34 spot all the way up to 7th. He's clear of this big hornet's nest behind here. As you see, the 83 of Adam Benefield, he's trying to hold off the 5 of Conti, the 8 of Adam Gilliland as well. Those guys still digging very hard here back here. It's a major hornet's nest from about 9th or 10th on back.
So what should have been big junk somehow ends up as almost a 5-position game within 1,000 feet for Brad Patton. He goes to the number 9 position behind him. That 5 of Michael Conti came up right in front of the 8 of Gilliland. They made contact at the 2, and the 8 wants to challenge the 5 back for what's going to be P11 on the racetrack. Just can't find a spot. Just behind them, the 37 of Brian Blackford, who qualified at 19th, has moved the Wendell Scott Foundation forward up to 13th as they run it right now. That going on about 4.5 seconds behind the battle for the race lead that sees Matt Busa with a 2 or 3 car length advantage over Ray Alfala. Timmy Hill down to 4th, and Coleman sideways behind him at least the 2nd time tonight. We've seen the number 20 Toyota break loose coming off of that final quarter. He'll get to the inside of Timmy Hill, and he'll take the spot away. Again, the 4 on no tires really doesn't stand much of a chance. He just can't keep that car down on the yellow line. He'll go up to the outside of the racetrack to allow John Gorlinski to slide into 5th.
John Gorlinski gets around the sliding machine of the 4 Timmy Hill. He's going to put it right up against the safer barrier, and that's going to allow the 40 of Jody Lopez Jr. to get up to the inside. Up front, it's still all Matt Busa, but Ray Alfala, he's right in tow, a gap about 1.5, call it 2 car lengths as they head off at turn number 4. Still all Matt Busa thus far on the restart. Took him a couple laps to get back up there, but Evan, he's still showing he's still the class of the field.
And he's trying to pull away. He's seen a gap of a couple of tenths a second earlier in this race. Alfala now up 4 after started in P6. He's up the 2nd. Not going to let him get away, though, without a battle. A little bit of a fight just outside the top 10. It's for P11, the 8 machine, way deep into turn number 3. Gilliland in a side-by-side match with the 37 of Blackford. Blackford gets the spot, and the 8 so deep in turn 3, he was about full throttle from that point on, and he blows back by the 14 of Matthew Muse. They'll go 3 wide, coming off the corner as Edson stuck up against the fence 3 wide and a battle for the number 11 spot. They'll go to 2 wide as you see the 4 of Timmy Hill making it a 3rd lane on the outside of the racetrack, continuing to slide back, and the 14 shuts the door on Gilliland. No mercy in the battle for P12.
No mercy. No mercy at all, guys. I'm telling you what, the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke right now, he almost got up into his teammate, the 8 of Adam Gilliland. Those guys going wheels. Oh, trouble! The 8 of Adam Gilliland almost gets 30, saves it off of turn 4.
That one machine's got to check up on the outside. I'm not sure what happened to Ensign the last couple of laps, but he's been way up 3 wide again. It's Ken Baum Jr. up the middle, 3 wide in turns 1 and 2. That's about the 3rd time off the restart. There they go, hard contact and up into the fence. Mitchell Hunt going to go head on into the turn 2 wall. The caution flag is out. He'll collect a couple of friends. Yellow finally, after what has been a hectic 10 to 15 laps off the restart, eventually they ran out of lucky horseshoes. They were beaten and banging so many times, Brian Macklin, that eventually that horseshoe got jostled loose, and the one got tapped to the back end, got sideways. Second time tonight we've seen the 71 machine, and up at the outside wall, Timmy Hill as well as Ken Baum Jr., some of the guys involved behind them.
Yeah, unfortunately for Mitchell Hunt, though, he's not going to be able to rebound from that wreck very easily. He got some heavy damage when he got sent into the outside wall that time. I have a feeling he's going to have a very hard time getting back out there. This is the 3rd time that we've seen Trey Edson be involved in a wreck, and I look at his car. It is not that badly damaged. His car is actually pretty fine considering how many wrecks he's been involved in already, just 50 laps into this event. Right there, he was just kind of a ping pong for everybody else, but luckily got through it, and you're going to see these guys coming to pit road here once again to get 4 fresh tires and fuel. Matt Busa is going to lead the charge.
Timmy Hill, a little bit of damage, is in for service outside the top 20. Trey Edson comes in from 16th position. Those were the 2 guys that took no tires the last time around, and the race off at the pit lane. Justin Fuller, the number 51 NOS Energy Toyota. He'll go 3rd to 1st and take over the race lead at the Virginia 200, just 2 laps past quarter distance at lap number 52 of 200. We'll take a quick opportunity to step away, go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll see who's out in front of the field, because this one is getting real exciting with 53 laps in the books at America's premier short track. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulting Cup Series. Back in a moment from Richmond. The pace car discards himself at a racing surface to the inside, leaving Justin Fuller in front for the first time this evening. Green flag flies and a big checkup behind the inside. Not going at all. John Gorlinski on the brakes instead of the throttle. They're going to figure that out behind the battle for the race lead. That sees Busa get left on the outside. Coleman swinging to the bottom to make it a side-by-side fight for second, as Fuller, first driver, clear in front in 3 and 4 for the lead.
and it was not without a shot. The 20 at Coleman gave the 51 of Fuller a big push going down into turn one. You're going to see the 34 of Busa try to battle back and drive back and power around the outside. It's going to be too wide. Wheel to wheel off turn two, and it looks like it's going to be the edge to the 34 of Matt Busa. Can he shut the door on Coleman? No, he's still there. Wheel to wheel for second in 3 and 4.
Coleman has been having issues with the handling off of turn 4, and they say loose is fast. I don't know if he wants to be quite that loose, and the 34 going to win the fight for a second. Boots is swinging to the inside of the racetrack. So, well, he made the move on the outside. Bottom line is, if single file, you want to go to the inside of the racetrack. The top two try to break away. There's Real Fala again, though. The 27 has really been working on rubbering in that outside lane of the racetrack. It's only going to get better from here. And a big run off the corner. He'd have to swing down and shut the door into turn one. Coleman going to leave it open for him, and it looks like Alfala hesitant to come in. The 20 going to look to the inside, not going to happen, and sideways behind Benefield, breaking to the inside fence. He'll hang on and lose a spot to Michael Conti. Brian, impressive. The number 5 Chevrolet back inside the top 5.
Yeah, we looked at him when he pitted on that first caution, and we thought there was something going on there, that maybe he was just wanting to have some fun. He's having fun now. He's back up inside the top 5. He set his sights on Chad Coleman. He's going to try to get up there and do something with him. We have a battle for the lead. Matt Busa to the inside of Justin Fuller off into turn 3. He's going to try to make something happen here. Fuller's going to have that momentum off the corner. Not going to be able to clear him at the moment. Looks like he might have him as they get to turn 1. Busa's going to keep it down there, though. He's going to stick it in there once again and try to take that lead as they come off turn 2.
You want to talk about somebody that can give these guys hell on a short track. That's Justin Fuller. And on the outside, he hangs on. And Matt Busa going to have to hang on to P2. You see the 34 with the 27, a little bit higher at that time. And he entered in turn number 3. They're not going to lose much time, though. The gap between the 51 to 34 remains about a car length down into the corner. They're going to work on him. That 27 Ray Alfala's digging it. Here's a good run off the corner. Small bobble. Does anybody look to the inside? They stay single file for now. It almost looks like Busa's looking to the outside of the racetrack.
Busa's digging hard. He's right there. He's trying to work the outside. I think he's trying to set him up for an outside in move as he goes to the outside quarter panel, the 51, Justin Fuller. And he's looking there, still looking. Who's going to happen? It's going to be the 51 of Fuller. He's going to get a good drive this time off of turn 2. He's going to set sail a gap of about 1 car length, half a car length, it looks like, as they rotate through the center of 3 and 4. It's still Justin Fuller. Busa digging hard. He's battling hard. He's trying to get up there for the lead.
Looks like the number 27 machine has actually been playing fairly nice with Matt Busa, because the 34 last couple of times coming out of turn number 4 been too busy looking at Justin Fuller to worry about the 27 behind, but a good run that time. Gonna put him back right where he was 3 laps ago. 34 on the inside. The 51 of Fuller seems confident enough to be able to fight him back and at least put up a fight on the outside of the racetrack. It was Fuller at the start-finish line. That time around, we put lap number 64 to the books, but your pole sitter power run out of turn 2. He'll get 3/4 of a car length in front. Can't quite break free. And this time on the inside of 4, where that 34 has been just a little bit better, he'll get the lead at the finish line. Can't quite get in front of the 51 of Fuller, but I think this time it should be good enough to get clear, and that is it. Battle for the race lead going out of Matt Busa. 51 thinking crossover, not going to be able to get it at least that time. And now the question is, can Fuller get back at that 34 before that 27 Ray Alfala tries to get a piece of him?
Alfala digging hard out of turn 3. He's right there, but he's got about a car length or so to go. But looking back, got a good battle going on for that 4 spot. In fact, it's a battle no more. Michael Conti gets around the 20 of Chad Coleman. Right behind them, the 83 of Adam Benefield. Still wheel to wheel with Coleman for that 5th spot. Is Coleman hanging tough? He's going to lose the 5th spot. Now the 6th spot is the 40 of Jordy Lopez. Sticks his nose in there. And the 80 of John Gorlinski going to try to stick his nose in there. And trouble, I can hear the 51. He might have gone around.
Caution flag will fly, and problems down the back straightaway. Heavy damage on the number 19 Havoline Chevrolet of Tyler Dalton. He's junked up pretty good, and he was well behind where the problems initiated for the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet. Coming up hot and heavy, the 4 and the 1, both going at it side by side, but not really a fight for position, because with the 4 and the 1, they had both been hanging out on the outside of the racetrack, just dropping back. Corbin M Street comes up over the nose, gets turned. The number 19 is as well involved, and we're hearing the contact not limited to just green flag conditions.
We now have these guys down on pit road once again. Matt Busa is on pit road. We'll get back to the accident in just a moment. We have all your front runners on pit road. Looks like EJ O'Rourke is going to stay out to lead a lap, so right now he's going to be scored as your race leader. We do expect him to come to pit road very soon.
The 34 in number 1 pit stall has gone with the 4-tire call all night long. We've seen a couple of people try 2 tires with some limited success, but it looks like for the call, second time in a row, the battle for the race lead going to go to Justin Fuller off of the pit lane, and we keep preaching that the number 1 pit stall should give Matt Busa a big advantage. That's the last 2 times Justin Fuller has got the better hand by at least 2 car lengths.
Yeah, Matt Busa, he's got to be thanking EJ O'Rourke, especially if EJ decides he wants to stay out. That's going to put the 34 of Matt Busa on the inside line. But as I say that, EJ O'Rourke comes down to the pit lane, so that's going to move Matt Busa back to the outside. And how about Ray Alfalla? He's got to be thanking his lucky stars. He finally restarts on the inside.
And that's going to put him in a good position inside row 2, and he's going to try to give problems to the 34 Abusa, who's going to be to the outside of the front row in the number 2 spot. Justin Fuller, recognizing the commitment for the guys coming over the wall there, said pit crew 2, driver 0. He says he's got to now take advantage of what those guys are giving him down on the pit lane and do something with it. He will once again restart as your race leader. Busa to the outside, and Ray Alfalla going to be starting in third. It's interesting because if you look at the championship standings, Matt Busa now in his 9th start on the year, picking up his 3rd pole position. Ray Alfalla ahead of him by 66. That's the difference between 2nd and 1st in the championship, is 66 points after just 8 races so far. We got 3 more to go in segment 1 after 12. Going to come to a close, and we'll work on for another segment. 2 more segments after race number 12 to complete the full 2016 schedule. But the interesting thing is Alfalla with 1 pole position, Matt Busa with his 3rd tonight, Justin. Other than that, nobody in the top 10 in the points as a pole position. So the guys that are finding the relative success running 3rd through 10th in the championship, getting the very consistent numbers, aren't necessarily having the best starts. In fact, Doy Woods, who is 3rd place in the championship standings, has an average starting position of outside the top 20. So that's an interesting number to look at. And tonight as well, a good example of that, because he started 25th. Doy Woods right now working his way up to 19th.
Yeah, he's certainly just trying to do what a smart driver would do, and that would be just basically survive all the short track melees that we've been seeing lately. Lights are off on the pace car field, getting doubled up. Justin Fuller going to be your leader. Matt Busa rides 2nd, Alfalla 3rd, Benefield 4th, and Michael Conti, he's going to round out the top 5, and John Gorlinski going to be right to Conti's outside there in the 6th spot. It's going to be anybody's guess as the pace car gets ready to dive to the safety pit road, Evan. We've seen the battle before. It's about ready to get heated up once again.
Fuller going to get a shot at the top spot again. Keep it on the 27 to see what he can do at a battle for P2. Green flag in the air. We'll back at it again. Put lap 72 behind us, and a good jump by Ray Alfalla. He'll get clear on Matt Busa all the way to turn number 1 they go. P1 and 2 going to go to the 51, the 27. How about Adam Benefield from 26th on the grid? He wants a podium spot. He goes to the inside on Busa at a side-by-side battle in turn 4.
Benefield not afraid to mix it up with the big boys. Busa still being hung out high and dry up in the upper lane. He's going to have a big drive down into turn number 1. He's going to secure that 3rd spot. Michael Conti battling to the inside of the 80 of John Gorlinski for that 5th spot, as the 40 of Jordy Lopez, I believe, is sticking his nose in there as well. Those two have come together a few times already thus far in the early going, as we're just 25 laps or so. Call it 26 at the stripe from the halfway mark of this 200-lap affair.
And now battle for the race lead is on. 2nd time, Justin Fuller can lead off for the restart, but it's short-lived. On the outside again, Ray Alfalla this time, who got 2nd away from Matt Busa, who did it to the 51 last time, makes quick work. And for the first time, your 5-time winner in 2016, Ray Alfalla, going to go to the point we talked briefly in the pre-race show. 5 trips to victory lane, hasn't been able to get the job done on a short track tonight. Ray Alfala also hasn't gone more than 2 weeks without a trip to victory lane, and without a win 1 week ago at the Bristol Motor Speedway. He needs a win to keep that streak alive tonight, and he's out in front and setting sail. Give him 2 car lengths that lap around to put himself 2 tenths in front.
That's a very dangerous sight to see, guys. Alfala right there as Busa dives to the inside of the 51 of Fuller for that second spot. He's right there wheel to wheel. That brings along the 83 of Benefiel and the 5 of Michael Conti. Those guys going to try to stick their noses in there. Busa going to clear the 51 of Fuller as Fuller going to try to shut the door on the 83 of Benefiel, and he does with an aggressive move down to the yellow line there through turns 1 and 2. The top 10 cars, top 15, call it top 20, all single file on the racetrack. The 83 of Benefiel digging hard right up to that back deck with the 51 of Justin Fuller and Benefiel. He's not quite there. The gap is about a car length, but he's diving in there this time by through turn 1. He's right there. Going to see if we give him a little bit of a bumper, because as we've seen, it seems like it's one of the few ways you can pass Justin Fuller, because he is a very aggressive short track driver.
51 hasn't shied off of putting up a fight on the outside of the racetrack, but it just has not been working out for him, and he's going to continue to slide back. There's a battle outside the top 10. 24, Josh Hanner, Chad Coleman, and Casey Tucker going at it. Nothing going to come from that immediately. If we look back inside the top 10, a good fight going on just behind these guys. How about John Gorlinski? We've mentioned the number 80 Chevrolet a couple times tonight. I think one was when he went 5 wide, and a second was when he was almost in an accident. Keeping in mind that 80 started in 34th position and is up to 7. Still shy of the halfway point. He's making some pretty good gains and wants to apply some pressure to Jordy Lopez Jr. in front of him, who runs in P6.
Good move for him. And how about the guy right behind him in the 14? Matthew Moose started 21st. He's up to the 8th spot. He's trying to hold off the 46 of Anthony DeBarro, and he's doing a very good job at that lately. In the last couple laps, he's really started to open that gap up between himself and DeBarro. In fact, he opened up another about a half a tenth or so between himself and DeBarro. That gap starting to grow a little bit between himself, though, and John Gorlinski. He's trying to reel in these guys up here in the front of the pack. Now, battle for the lead. Matt Busa is right there. He's trying to dig on Ray Alfala. He's getting close, guys. The gap, 0.159 at the start-finish line.
It's interesting because when we saw Busa fighting with Fuller for the race lead, it almost looked like the 27 who was sitting back in 3rd on the last green flag run of the race. He was a little bit quicker, just hanging out. This time got the inside on the restart. We mentioned for the first time tonight, really getting some good fortunes. Got P2 from Busa on a restart, was able to take over the race lead from Justin Fuller with the 34, proving that he's pretty even with that Alfala Tech Ford. It really has been a Matt Busa dominated race. Justin Fuller has been masterful on the pit lane so far tonight, but if you look at the numbers, it has been well controlled by Matt Busa. The 27 of Alfala looked like he was going to check out, but that 34 did a good job. He got the pass of the 51, who's now back in 3rd spot within 2 laps of Alfala getting the job done. So it didn't fall too far back, and you want to talk about a sad sight, the 18 of Josh Parker, who started P2 tonight in an accident. That's what his night's going to be for the rest of the evening. Run around on the outside of the racetrack rim ride and try to survive and try to get some points out of it. He could very easily, in fact, he has been in the conversation up front all night long. Unfortunately for him, the cards weren't in his favor, and he's running right now outside the top 25. Adam Benefiel, the Roll Speed Dynamic Chevrolet. He'll be the next driver to the inside on Justin Fuller. They're door-to-door in turn 3.
As he's going to try to complete the pass, he's right down on the yellow line. He's going to try to put that power down and get a good drive off of turn number 4. You're going to see the outside line of Fuller get that big drive down the curved front straightaway, and that's going to give a slight edge, especially that time by down the front straightaway back to the 51 of Fuller, as the 83 of Benefiel can't quite clear the 51 of Fuller. Benefiel going to stick it right down to the bottom, and you have to think the 51 of Fuller, he's been very good on the outside, but he gets up into the outside safer barrier. That's going to allow the 40 of Jordy Lopez to go around him, move forward back to the 5th spot.
Lopez gets the spot, and as well, Michael Conti drives it in hard to make sure he's able to make it a challenge and a battle no longer. Easily going to move up to the number 5 spot for the 5 Chevrolet. Still not back where he started. The magic number going to be 3, and the damage control will be completed for Michael Conti, and then he can get back to work. Battle for the race lead, boosted to the inside, and not much of a challenge by Ray Alfala. 27 leaves the inside wide open, but he'll fight him back hard coming out of turn number 2. It's a battle for the race lead at lap number 89 of 200 on the night. Your pole sitter trying to take it back for the man that has dominated the championship since the first 3 checkered flags were given to him on the year, but he's not giving up on the outside. It looks like Alfala maybe didn't want to protect the inside because he knew that he might have something for him on the top side of the racetrack. Brian is going to lose a little bit of time. This time, Busa half a car length with the advantage.
Yeah, Ray Alfala trying to fend off Matt Booth as they work off turn 4. He's done a good job so far maintaining on that outside line, but I really think Booth has got the better car right now. He seems to get through the center of the corner so much better than Ray. As you see it right there, he just cut through the center of the corner so much better, and Ray takes the lead. He's back to the point here on lap 91. He just looks like he's able to roll the center and get back in the gas so much quicker than anybody else, and that's really what's playing into his favor right now. As these tires start to fall off, you see Ray is really starting to lose some grip in the rear tires, and Busa is just really able to hang on, and that's going to be the advantage that he has as this race continues to go green. He's just going to drive away from these guys.
And Busa made that pass for the race lead on the inside. Again, it was Alfala happened to dig a little bit top side of the racetrack, so the 34 really didn't have to adjust his line that much in the battle for the lead. Just 1.7 seconds behind him, we'll have a swap for the number 3 spot. Adam Benefield, who had just gotten into a podium position, he'll lose the spot to the P-Money Designs Toyota Jordy Lopez Jr., who with that move on the inside of the racetrack now takes over 3rd. And if you're that 83 of Adam Benefield, don't get comfortable because Michael Conti right behind you. Like I said, he's got 2 more spots of unfinished business, and he's only about a car length and some change behind.
As those guys work right there, Michael Conti, he's going to try to stick his nose in there as Benefield still tries to hang right on. Conti's right there. It's pretty much just nose to tail for those 3 guys right there, 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the racetrack at the moment. Gorlinski going to work to the inside, and caution flag on the speedway.
Just shy of the cross flag, 6 laps away from lap number 100. The yellow flag going to come out and slow down the back straightaway. Looks like it's the JDR Graphics Toyota of J.D. Laird, and this one, a little bit of assistance required. 23, a little bit of a high entry to the corner. Timmy Hill looking to the inside. 23 came down, and the 4 takes him out, gets him in the left rear there. A typical Richmond accident down in turn 1. The yellow flag waves it again, and this means we'll have fresh tires for a restart at the halfway point. The leaders are down as we take a second look at the accident. The question is, do we see Justin Fuller lead out of the pit lane again? He'd really need a good time because the NOS machine has fallen to P6. Matt Busa once again, first car in.
Leaders coming down pit road. First to peel off is going to be that 51 of Justin Fuller at the moment. You're going to see Jordy Lopez hit his box, Alfala, and now the 34 of Busa as Benefield had to pull off real early. He was started 26, so he's well up the pit lane. Right side's in the air on the 34, Matt Busa. The crew going around the left side. Another set of 2 Goodyear Eagles being slapped on that. A full tank of Sunoco race fuel down and away. The battle off of pit road. It looks like it's going to be the 27 of Ray Alfala.
Alfala had a nose, and it looks like the scoring might give it to Matt Busa. You want to talk about being close? I think the number 34 going to be credited with leading the battle out of the pit lane. We saw the 45 of Paul Fugate drive on by. He'll go to the race lead. Not going to get any bonus points, though, for leading a lap because he comes right back down to the pit lane. So I have to feel like that 45 Chevrolet might have missed the stall the last time around. Second time tonight, Matt Quick stays out. The number 89 Chevrolet goes to the point. We'll take this quick opportunity, step away. When we come back, we'll start counting down inside of the final 100 laps, and we'll take a look at our iRacing.com midway race break. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series live on iRacing Live. We're back live at the virtual Richmond International Raceway. Matt Busa going to win the battle off of the pit lane, right back up where he started 99 laps ago. Your pole sitter behind the wheel of the Gale Force Racing Toyota going to bring us back to the green flag. We'll discard lap number 99. The cross flag is going to be the next time around. But this time we look for the American Ethanol restart. Into the restart box we go. Control car electing the inside. Green flag waves. And back at it again. Ray Alfalla, who was on the inside of row 2 on the last restart. He's feeling the opposite end of that one now. Inside for Jordy Lopez Jr. At a side-by-side battle for the number 2 spot. That race goes down the back.
As Jordy Lopez going to try to dive it in there in turn 3, the edge to Alfalla. He's up on the high side. He's going to use them 4 fresh Goodyear tires. He's going to try to power it off turn 4 to try to clear Jordy Lopez. He's still there. Credit to Jordy. He's still hanging tough. He still works wheel to wheel on the 27 of Alfalla, the 83 of Benefield right behind those two. He's going to clear the 5 of Michael Connie. He's going to put himself solidly up into the 4th spot, and that's going to still be a battle though for P2. It's going to be Alfalla. He's going to drive it hard off of turn 4. He may clear the 40 of Jordy Lopez this time off of turn 4.
Got him on the top side of the racetrack. He hasn't shied away to that defensive line, and he's going to be able to get into the number 2 spot. Now, the 27 looked a little bit better than Busa on the short run last time. We'll see what he can do. Yellow flag and problems for Justin Fuller at a turn number 2. The NOS Energy Toyota Camry. He gets turned around in front of a lot of traffic, and that was courtesy of the number 20 machine, Chad Coleman, up the inside, sent him for a loop, and he did brush up against the side of the number 12 of Casey Tucker. I was half expecting that 51 Toyota to get plowed by the field coming on through. Second time in a row, the number 20 machine going to be involved in the accident, and the yellow flag drops now at the halfway point with Matt Busa in front. Ray Alfalla did all that work to get in front of Jordy Lopez Jr. He might just have to do it all over again because he gets P2 back. That would line him up for the outside of the front row. If anybody comes down pit road, 27 thought about it. A couple of cars going to be coming in. Looked like the first driver in may have been a couple of the lap machines. Number 12 of Casey Tucker is going to come down to the pit lane from at the front of the field. But other than that, I'd say that's the Michael Conti call. And for the majority of your leaders, they want to stay out at lap number 104. Busa, Alfalla, Lopez, Benefield, Conti right now running inside of the top 5. Major problems for a couple of guys that in fact now just 25 drivers on the lead lap of the 36 that we started with. But a quick yellow there might be, Brian, a sign of things to come, because once you start counting down and you stop counting up, we tends to get a little bit more aggressive out there.
Yeah, and we actually just saw Justin Fuller decide to leave this race. He is officially being shown as out of the race. He is not going to finish. And like you said, back to your point, yes, now that we're inside of 100 laps to go, of course, we've been seeing a lot of aggressive racing all race long, but now it's just going to get even more aggressive and more intense and more exciting. You're going to see all these guys fighting for every position, every single lap, and the old adage goes, cautions breed cautions. I have a feeling we have not seen our last caution. I think we have several left to come in this next 100 laps. These guys are going to be getting very aggressive. We've seen it all night long, and there's a few people that have some tempers and a little bit of emotion tonight. We've seen a lot of problems here between a couple of different drivers. That's going to play into this as well. We still have yet to see the EJ O'Rourke and Matt Busa a feud going on. I'd hope to see that at some point here tonight. If not, we might have to wait till next week at Talladega. EJ will certainly be in the mix at Talladega next week.
So at the halfway point, let's take a look at your iRacing.com into a race break brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized sim racing, courtesy of the partners at NASCAR, IndyCar, the IMSA, and more. Matt Busa, pole sitter at the front of the field. Ray Alfalla right now running second. Jordy Lopez from 11th to 3rd. Adam Benefield from 26th to 4th. And Michael Conti rounds out the top 5. Anthony DeBarro, Chad Coleman, Matthew Moose, Brian Blackford, and Brad Patton through your top 10.
11th goes to the number 24 of Joshua Hanner. Jordan Hightower sits 12th. Bentley Glazer is 13th. Greg Spears will be in the 14th position. Sitting in the 15th position at the moment is Jesse Kovacs. J.D. Laird, after just being around a couple of cautions ago, he's back up to the 16th position. John Gorlinski is 17th. Doy Woods is 18th. Paul Fugate is 19th. And running out the top 20, E.J. O'Rourke.
21st to the 89 of Matthew Quick. The John Wilco Machine rise 22nd. 23rd to the 1 of Trey Edson. Casey Tucker rise 24th. And 25th, the last car on the lead lap will be the 8 of Adam Gilliland. The 4 of Timmy Hill is 26th, 1 lap down, 2 laps in arrears. The 51 of Justin Fuller, he is out of the race. 28th to the 18 of Josh Parker. The 77 Machine of Tyler Tucker rise 29th. And rounding out the top 30 will be the 19 of Tyler Dalton.
And in 31st to 36, you got Corbin Hemstreet, Austin Jones, Kenna Baum Jr., Mitchell Hunt, Mitch Rollo, and Garrett Smithley through the rest of the field. This has been a look at your iRacing.com Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com and sign up today. You can use the LSRTV promo code by entering PR-2016 LSRTV when you register for a new iRacing membership. You can get that late model free of charge when you sign up for the first time. The pace car down and away, not the first time tonight. Matt Busa has been in control and a dominant jump that time to turn number 1, the 34. He'll clear the outside lane halfway through the center of the corner. It's going to be once again Alfala outside, Lopez inside at a battle for P2, and that time a lot easier for the Alfala Tech Ford to maintain that number 2 spot.
He's right there. He's going to challenge to the outside quarter panel of Matt Busa for the race lead and not going to quite get there off of turn number 4. Got a little bit loose, but he's going to charge it right there. Battle for P4, the Connie Machine in the by Peak Chevrolet. He's going to dig to the inside of the 83 of Benefield, and Benefield going to pinch him down a little bit off of turn 2. Those guys racing very hard for that 4 spot as they're still wheel-to-wheel through turns 3 and 4.
The 83 came storming into the top 5, and since he got here, he hasn't found a lot of friends. Got up to 3rd, Jordy Lopez took it from him, and Michael Conti going to take P4, it looks like. The 5 advantage at the start-finish line. 90 laps to go this time by the 83 will slot in line for P5. Anthony DeBarro just behind in 6th. Had to check things up a little bit and let the 83 know he didn't appreciate that. Gives him a little bit of a tap going into turn number 3.
A lot of good action back in the pack. The 3 of Brad Patton just cleared the 24 of Joshua Hanner. And right behind them, the 80 of John Gorlinski. He's going to work to the inside of the 23 of J.D. Laird. They're stacked up 4 or 5 rows deep. 2 by 2 by 2. They come down the back straightaway. It's John Gorlinski with the edge on J.D. Laird. These guys mixing it up. Big hornet's nest back here for about P16.
Yeah, in 16th position, over 3 seconds behind the battle for the race lead. They're still going at it because right there behind him, you're going to find that 51 machine of Justin Fuller, who got in the accident earlier in this race. In fact, just on most previous yellow, and it took him from battling inside of the top 5 to running 27th position and 2 laps down. So he's not shying away from keeping his nose out of the action. The 23, the 41 are 2 laps ahead of him and battling for a spot inside of the top 20. Battle going on inside the top 10 and could be soon a battle for the race lead because Busa, Alfala, Lopez all lined up at a single file line. Less than 0.2 of a second separate your top 3.
The 46 of DeBarro just gave the 5 of Michael Conley a big shot. Going to keep our eyes on that as it develops. But as is said right there, the 27 of Alfala, he's right there digging hard on the race leader, the 34 of Matt Busa. Everybody else single file for the moment. Alfala going to try to look to the outside to try to get a little bit of grip. That inside line, the grip starting to fade away a little bit for the 27 of Alfala as he's right there putting that Alfala Tech 4 right back about a half a lane or so right off the bottom. And then he digs that apron to try to rotate that car center off the corner. So he's really just trying to diamond the corner watching Busa, because you see Busa right there to 3 and 4. He runs about a half a lane to a lane higher than everybody else. And that gives him the ability to rocket down the front straightaway and really start to try to put a gap on Ray Alfala.
Slowly inching away, going to be the name of the game. The biggest lead that we've seen for Busa came in the opening 25 laps, and I don't think it was much more than 7 or 8 tenths of a second. Since then, he hasn't gone, I don't think, more than a half a second away, and Ray Alfala has been a big part of that because he and the 27, I'd have to argue, are almost dead even. I think the advantage Busa might have is long run speed, and we really haven't had a long run all race long. We've seen pretty good green flag stints, 20, 25, 30 laps in length, but nothing to really stretch things out that I think would allow the Gale Force Toyota Brian to capitalize, and it's allowing Ray Alfala to keep pounding on him there because they keep getting shots at each other on the restarts.
Yeah, as long as we keep having little short runs like this, you're going to see Ray be able to keep up with Matt Busa. But back to your point as well, if we get a long green flag run, we already know Matt's got a very strong car. We saw on that last run, we started getting a decent little green flag run, about 25 laps or so, and Matt Busa really put on the pressure and pulled away until the caution came out. He's certainly got this car figured out for the long run. Ray Alfala has been searching around throughout most of this run, seeing if he can't try to figure out the line and maybe manage his tires a little bit better. And so far, he seems like he's done a good job. He's staying a lot closer and maintaining that speed a lot better than we saw him do on the last run. Doing a good job so far. He's right there, and if anything happens, if Matt Busa slips up and makes a mistake, he's ready to pounce.
Your top three, Matt Busa, Ray Alfala, Jordy Lopez Jr. You shouldn't be surprised to see them. If only Adam Gilliland was having a better run, who's in 18th position right now. Speaking of the 8, he just sent the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke for a ride into the turn 1 wall. Caution flag will fly. That one out of nowhere in a battle for 17th position. We'll get back to the point I was working on in a moment. Interesting contact amongst those Gary Mercer trucking cars. 41 of us that checked up a little bit shy, seeing the 90 and the 12 fighting in front of him because he absolutely got airmailed to the inside or to the outside fence in turn 1. I would assume it's unintentional contact, but that was a big lick. I mean, he got to the fence faster than the Amazon Prime 2-day free shipping. That was a hard hit.
As Evan just said, the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke just got sent to the outside fence faster than Amazon 2-day free shipping. And I tell you what, man, that was airmail, like you said, Evan, and really that was really interesting. But as I say, I'm going to take this opportunity to highlight the sponsor of the ASCORS Sunday Cup Series, ProGeek Consulting LLC. Since 1998, ProGeek Consulting is providing IT solutions to small and mid-sized businesses in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area. Their strong work ethic and attention to detail allows us to provide the best solution for your needs. We specialize in a wide range of solutions, including infrastructure, networking, servers, storage, virtualization, security, virtual CIO, and IT strategy.
And that's a list of things that I don't know much about, so make sure you give them a call. ProGeek Consulted LLC, a big part of this ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series. Pit Road continues to give us the most passes for the race lead, although on-track action has been exciting again. The 34 of Matt Busa loses a spot on the pit lane. Ray Alfala at number 27 machine gets the better of him that time off of the pit lane. They both came in. They both got 4 tires. 27 just faster. We saw John Gorlinski, first driver out of the pit lane. He did come in and take 2 right side tires only. So from 13th position, Gorlinski right now behind the 51 of Justin Fuller on track. 51 stays out. He'll take the wave by. He'll go from 2 to just 1 lap to the negative in 27th. But John Gorlinski, I think, is going to be your leader for this restart, and that will be interesting. The point that I was getting to before I just happened to stumble upon an accident in turn 1 is that we saw Ray Alfala, Matt Busa, and Jordy Lopez Jr. run at 1, 2, 3. It looks like they're going to be 2, 3, and 5 for the restart because DeBarro picks up the number 4 spot from Jordy Lopez Jr. down on the pit lane. Those are 3 of your 4 winners so far this season. Ray Alfala took the first 3 in a row: Daytona, Atlanta, and Las Vegas. Jordy Lopez taking home the 4th race of the year in Phoenix. Ray Alfala took home his 4th win of the year in the 5th race at Fontana. Matt Busa went to Martinsville. Alfala back again at Texas. And then Adam Gilliland, the 4th different name to be in victory lane this year, last week at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Back to the point that we were talking about, that Ray Alfala has not gone more than 1 week without going to victory lane. Gilliland got it last week. Alfala certainly in a spot to at least fight for it, but still with 75 laps, Brian. While he's there, there's no real way of predicting what's going to happen inside of these final 75 laps. Just because you're there doesn't guarantee you anything. You're going to have to work for it.
Yeah, this is going to be wild. We've seen these guys racing hard throughout the entire race and throughout the whole field, and we haven't seen Ray Alfala and Matt Busa mix it up too much yet, but you spoke about it at the beginning of the race. We saw a lot of action in the closing laps of the Sprint Cup Series race here today at Richmond between Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch. I'd venture to say if these guys have that opportunity in the closing laps here in just a little bit, we might see something very similar to that. As these guys get ready to go back green, they're going to have 75 laps to go. It's go time, and these guys are going to buckle up and have some fun here.
75 laps right on the money for, yet again, Another restart at the Richmond International Raceway. It's the 9th round of this 2016 ProGeek Consulted Cup Series, and as well after tonight races 10, 11, and 12 will conclude the opening segment of the 2016 racing calendar. The pace car to the inside, John Gorlinski, 2 tires, a beat-up race car, but a lot of passion at the front of the field. He'll lead to turn number 1 after starting 34th on a provisional. He'll lead off at turn 2, and the guys that have been up front all night are left to fight for second for now. Alfala to the outside, Busa to the inside. That 34, though, might get stuck behind the 80. Don't be surprised if Alfala goes right to the top on that 80 in front of him. We'll see.
We'll certainly see what happens here as Alfala looks to the outside. He's going to try to use the 80 of Gorlinski as a pick. Gorlinski drifts up off the bottom a little bit. He's going to take the high line away from Alfala. He's going to try to almost play like a draft package blocking type move. He's going to move and try to advance each of the lines. As he sticks it down on the bottom of the block, he advances of Busa. He's going to go right back to the top side, and he will block the advances of the 27 of Alfala. As Alfala right there, he's got a nose right there on the outside quarter panel, and Busa going to give Gorlinski a shot this time out of turn 2. It's a drag race down the back straightaway, edge to Gorlinski, still side by side for P2.
The 80 enjoying the battle behind because it means he's able to stay out in front. If these guys were single file running 2 and 3, they'd probably have been able to get to him and make a move on him so far. But obviously side by side, not the best way around. But they each want to set a pick, and instead of the 27 going top, the 34 going to go low. And Alfala, the one who gets the pick set on him, he'll go 3 wide as he moves John Gorlinski up out of the way. We go 3 wide for the number 2 spot out of turn 4. On the inside of that, the number 40. Jordy Lopez Jr., who just tried to follow Matt Busa through, and the 27 and the 40, they'll clear Gorlinski, and now the 40 of Lopez going to go into the number 2 spot.
Masterful driving on display as you see Jordy Lopez stick his nose in there. He's going to clear the 27 of Ray Alfala right there. The Michael Connie machine, he's going to try to get right back up there. Alfala gets moved back to 3rd. Connie looking to the inside of Ray Alfala as Brad Patton going to claw his way up to the inside of Gorlinski. Brad Patton up from the 18th starting spot and is still single file front 4 cars. And the 5th spot going to be settled here in about 1 turn or so. DeBarro going to try to get to the inside of Gorlinski as well. Brad Patton going to clear the 80 of Gorlinski off of turn 4.
And with that move, you can give another spot to that number 3 who started 18th up to P5, but kind of a quiet charge to the front of the field. How about this duo in a battle for 3rd sideways? Michael Conti gonna hang on. He got all kinds of shape out of turn 2 after he found himself within striking distance for the number 3 spot, which Ray Alfala occupies at the moment. 5 gave him a little bit of a nudge coming off of the turn, got him a little bit out of shape. I think Michael Conti gonna say it was well worth it to mess with that 27 in front of him, because these guys are no strangers to each other here on Sundays as well on Tuesday nights. Ray Alfala, a 2-time NASCAR Beginner Free Series champion. Michael Conti won back just 2 years ago the title for the NPAS Championship. So they know each other and they love to duke it out, but I think the 27, Ray Alfala, he's more focused right now on Busa and Lopez Jr. in front of him, because 1, 2, 3, and 4 going to be, I think, within at least half of a second of each other the next time by the start-finish on. That's a 4-car battle up at the front of the field.
DeBarro trying to work the inside of the 80 of John Gorlinski, and this time by he will indeed clear the 80 of John Gorlinski for that 6th spot. That's going to allow the 37 of Brian Blackford to try to stick his nose in there on a little bit of a dive job. The 80 machine of Gorlinski tried to close the door. Blackford right there. That's going to allow the 20 of Chad Coleman now to stick his nose in there, as Gorlinski still trying to hold off the 37 of Blackford. It's not going to quite happen this time by off of 4. Blackford going to push him right up to the outside retaining wall, and that's going to allow the advantage to be given again to the 37 of Blackford.
Blackford is very accustomed to this kind of a race. He started in 19th position. That move on the 80 of John Gorlinski going to give him the number 7 spot. Right now, after what has been a disappointing start to 2016, Blackford not inside of the top 10 in the championship points. Normally qualifies a little bit towards the mid-pack and likes to very methodically and very calculated in his moves make his way through the field. It's no surprise that he's inside the top 10 now in the second half of this race. race, the next step would be to borrow patent to move yourself from a top 10 finish to a top 5. That's been a little bit shy that he and the Wendell Scott Foundation Ford Fusion team have been missing in these first 8 races. Take that little bit of an extra step and find himself inside the top 5 to help him in the championship. Behind him, the 20 and Chad Coleman, somebody who has not shied away from anything tonight. He'll make another dive to the bottom of the racetrack on Gorlinski in turn 1. The 80 with a big power move on the outside, trying to defend in a battle for 8th.
Battle heating up again as Coleman just loses the handle on the rear end of that race car. That's going to allow the 80 of Gorlinski to go back around and shut the door subsequently on the 20 of Chad Coleman, and that's going to bring the 36 of Bentley Glazer back into the picture. Meanwhile, back up front 4 cars, all single file. Nose to tail, Matt Busa. Jordy Lopez looking at the inside of Busa, but he's still about a car length and a half back. Alfala right there patiently riding in fourth. He's looking to the inside of Lopez. Not going to get there. This is about a car length gap between everybody, P1 through P4.
And it's amazing that, well, you see the 27 to 40 battle for second. And, well, there's battles inside the top 10, Brian. Really, the anticlimactic battle, if you will, is the non-side-by-side, but such a close gap that has been really maintained all night long between P1 and P2. Again, Matt Busa hasn't been able to get more than a half a second in front of somebody since lap number 25 in the opening portions of this race. These guys, what they're doing up front, they're so evenly matched, which is why I made the point about Ray Alfala. Well, being up here inside of the top 5 doesn't guarantee you anything when there were still 75 laps to go, and this next time around was still 58 laps to go. Nothing's guaranteed because the guys that have been running inside the top 5 all night long are so even. Realistically, any of them could end up in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've done a great job staying close all night long, and they've been your front runners throughout all the mayhem and the wrecks and the cautions that we've had all night long. They have been constant up front. The only person that has really come from the back is Michael Conti. We saw him pit on the first caution, and he decided to race his way back up through the field, and he's done a great job up to the 4th position. Other than that, though, these 4 drivers have been at the front all night long, and you have to believe they are the guys to beat. There is one person that if he can get a caution and get a lucky dog, I'd be interested to see what he can do, and that's Justin Fuller. He's only 1 lap down. If he can get that lucky dog, get back on the lead lap, he might be able to make a late race charge and try to get back up here and maybe fight with these guys for the race win. He was one of the other drivers that was pretty fast and able to actually contend. His pit crew got the job done for him a couple of times and got him the race lead. So if he gets a couple of lucky breaks, I'd look to see him try to get back up there and have some fun.
He's going to need a caution, and he's going to need to get that lucky dog quick. He's got no competition for it. Next driver behind him as he rides in 27 is a P28 for the 18 of Josh Parker, 16 laps down. So he just needs the yellow to make it official. And he accredited, as you mentioned, a couple of those passes to the guys down on the pit wall, giving them some spots. And I think he also acknowledged, though, he needed a little bit more on the racetrack to be able to retain it. He led the restart 2 times, and he gave it up both times within the opening 10 laps of the green flag. So he was looking for a little bit of consistency. It wouldn't be the first time if he can get on the lead lap and do something with it. We've seen somebody do that tonight. Again, Michael Conti seems like he's been up inside the top 5 all night. If you look at the numbers, started in 3rd, runs in 4th right now, but was outside the top 25 at lap number 8 for the restart. He's taken the entire race to get back up there after an interesting pit call, and he's just 1 spot shy of getting back to where he runs. He runs in P4 right now. That spot in front of him occupied by Ray Alfala, who is stuck really in 3rd, and now working on one of the longer green flag stretches of the night. You're seeing Busa, Lopez, and Alfala slowly but surely going to fan things out. The gap for the race lead is at half a second.
Right now, great battle for P5. The 3 of Brad Patton just got really loose off of turn 4. He's going to go from 5th to 7th in 1 straightaway as the 37 of Blackford going to try to work to the outside around him. Anthony DeBarro put on a good power move. He got to the outside, drove it in deep in turns 1 and 2 the last time around, and actually cleared the 3 of Brad Patton off of turn 4, and 37 of Blackford going to do the same. The 3 of Brad Patton losing the handle on the rear end of that race car as we get into the later stages of this run, as we're almost 50 laps to go. It'll be 51 to go next time by.
And at that point, you're really going to be into the home stretch of this one. The numbers say we're not going to be done on pit road tonight, but Matt Busa might not mind because the 34 upper hand for him has been the longest runs tonight, and he's slowly getting in front of Lopez, picking up about 2 or 3 1/100ths of a second lap. Doesn't sound like a lot, but in a race that has seen your top 5 be thrown under a blanket all night long, and in one large pack, it's really big for the 34 to be able to stretch out to a couple of car lengths. He's going a lot deeper into the corner than the guys behind him are, and it almost looked like he overdrove turn 3 Brian Macklin that time, but he gained 6/100ths of a second. That 34 using the advantage of the more rubber that got put down on track. We talked about it before the race started in the opening laps, that the outside, well, we're not going to call it the preferred lane. It's a place that you can run on, and we actually saw a lot of people working on it earlier. Well, with the more rubber on the racetrack, with 150 laps now in the books, the outside and moving up maybe half the lane down in turns 3 and 4 might be working for Matt Busa.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at this racetrack, and you can actually see the rubber that has built up around the bottom of the track. You see how much darker the bottom of the track has gotten, and what that does is it does take away some of the grip down there, which makes these drivers need to search around and try to find grip elsewhere. The other big thing is the heat that goes into this track. When you have this many cars going around here lap after lap, the longer the run gets, the more heat you're putting in the track, which also takes away from the grip on the bottom of the track or wherever the preferred groove is. And as that begins happening, you do see these drivers start to search around, and that's what Matt Busa has been doing down in turns 3 and 4, where it looks like he's overdriving the corner. He's actually just found some grip up there because the track's not as rubbered up and there's not as much heat in the track. He's actually really been able to make a lot of time up there, and it's really played into his favor. You see he's slowly starting to inch away from Jordi Lopez, up over just over half a second now, and continuing to pull away lap after lap. And I think the longer this run gets, the more you're going to see drivers starting to do that. I've seen a couple other drivers through the field starting to venture up there as well. They're starting to realize that there's a little bit of grip up there.
And what we're starting to see is a couple of guys trickle down pit side. Gorlinski in, the 51 in from one lap down. So a couple of people have been on the pit lane in the last 5 laps or so for service. However, this time by just 45 laps remain at the Richmond International Raceway. We'll step away at one final time and go LSRTV nonstop so you don't miss a moment of the action. You're watching the ASCORS ProGeek Cup Virginia 200 on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change.
Caution flag going to drop with just 41 laps to go at the Richmond International Raceway. And herein it's going to be problems with the number 14, Matthew Moose. On the front straightaway, we talked a lot about the 20 machine getting sideways at a Ford tonight. Matthew Moose broke a little bit sideways off the corner, got hit in the right rear by Doy Woods, who was in a pretty good battle with him for the number 18 spot. Not enough time to check up. It sent the 14 the rest of the way around. You're taking a second look on the LSRTV replay. And with that, pit stop's going to happen for possibly one final time. 40 laps to go. It's the money stop. Busa going to bring them down at a turn 4.
Leaders down on pit road. A slow 35-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit. NASCAR gives them 5 miles an hour on pit lane, so thus they're driving 40 mile an hour, just trying to get every single thing that they can get on pit lane. Everybody got to come into their pit box nice and square. It looks like it's going to be the 34 Busa gets a great entry to his pit box. Right side's up on that machine. Left side's now going to go up on the 34 of Busa, and we're going to see what's going to happen here off of off of pit road. It will be the 34 of Busa going to get off of pit road really quickly as the 40 of Joey Lopez looks like he's going to get out second.
Ryan Blackford going to interject himself right into that conversation. 4 tires going to put him just behind Ray Alfala into 4th on the board, with Michael Conti behind in 5th. We'll step away, wrap up that commercial break, and we'll go non-stop all the way to the end of this one as we go inside of the final 40 laps at Richmond International Raceway. Matt Busa going to retain the lead.
The 2016 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series is all about change. New teams, new drivers, new tracks, even a new logo. And oh yeah, there's a brand new car. After 5 years of competition, we say goodbye to the Williams FW31 and we say hello to the McLaren MP430. But this isn't just a brand new car, it's a whole new ballgame. And with it, we bring new excitement, new strategies, new technology. For example, energy recovery and drag reduction systems. There's a new way of thinking about racing, and for all the drivers participating, it's back to the drawing board, wiping the slate clean in the ever-consuming pursuit of perfection. One little slip-up, one wrong move on track, one poor strategy call, and it's over. That's the difference between coming up short and becoming champion and being $10,000 richer to boot. So yeah, change is in the air, but we're going to start getting answers on the 27th of February as the 7th year of iRacing World Championship competition kicks off. And you won't miss a thing, with every single race live on iRacing Live, coverage brought to you by Racebot TV. So join us fortnightly from 1:30 p.m. GMT.
We're back live at the virtual Richmond International Raceway. We're inside of what is going to be just 36 laps to go from America's premier short track, and to close it in on a 9th checkered flag of the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series live on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Going to get completing what was probably the final trip down to the pit lane, caution bearing. Matt Busa, Jordy Lopez, Ray Alfala, Brian Blackford, and Michael Conti. Going to be your top 5. Green flag waves for what could be the last time. 36 laps to go. Alfala thinks about a 3 wide for the race lead. Not going to happen. Jordy Lopez Jr. on Busa's door for the top spot.
Drag race down the back straightaway. Busa gets loose out of turn 2. The 40 of Jordy Lopez. He's going to hang tight there. Alfala going to try to stick his nose in the mix and almost shoves the back end of Busa from 3 and 4. It's going to be a drag race, almost 3 wide. Alfala dives to the inside. Busa going to shut the door. The 40 of Lopez right there, still 2 wide. Caution flag on the speedway.
Just as Ray Alfala just about showed his card, it's big problems for Brad Patton, the number 3 Toyota. Looked like he might have gotten the left sides on the yellow line, and he chased it all the way up the hill at a turn number 4. The car got sideways. It's been a very loose part of the racetrack tonight. A great job, I will say, by Trey Edson for getting on the brakes and staying off of the 3. Patton couldn't hang on, and that pesky inside pit road wall in turn 1. The 3 gets into it. He bounces up in front of traffic. Matt Quick going to be turned off of the bumper of the 14 of Matthew Moose, and a 3-car accident going to put us right back under the caution flag with Busa, Lopez, Alfala still running in 1, 2, and 3. The only change for position under that short green flag stint was Michael Conti going up to 4th and Brian Blackford falling to 5th.
Jack Coleman going to ride 6th, 7th to the 46 of Anthony Navarro, 83 of Adam Benefield going to ride 8th, 9th to the 1 of Trey Edson, and 36 of Bentley Glazer going to round out the top 10. And we're going to get a restart inside of 30 laps to go. Evan, we just seen some cars being displayed by the 27 of Ray Alfala, the 2-time NASCAR, 2 or 3-time, Evan, I can't remember, but he is the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series champion, and it really is impressive to see Alfala, who looks like he has a better short-run car than Busa, and Busa wisely shut the door on Alfala because it looked like Alfala was just going for the money right there.
Rayo Fowler has taken the methodical approach, I think, more times than not, Brian, but he showed 3 wide on the drop of the green flag. He looked to the middle. He showed 3 wide the next time around, looking to the inside. The 27 might have to resort if he can't make it 3 wide, and if that's what he wants to do, he always has option B, and that is the chrome horn. We are at Richmond International Raceway. We haven't seen a lot of that up front. We've seen a lot of door banging. We haven't seen the Morse code come out yet. I think we might see that inside of the final 30.
Well, I think at this point that's Ray Alfala's only option because he has not shown the speed to really be able to do anything with Matt Busa. Short run or long run, it seems like Matt Busa's got the better car. So if Ray or Jordy is going to do something with him here in these closing laps, I think they're going to have to use that chrome horn and try to move him up out off the bottom and try to take his momentum away and get by him that way. But then they have to make sure they send him far enough back where he can't get back to him, because rest assured, if they do that to him and he has an opportunity to get back to him, he's going to repay the favor. So if they start racing like that, if we start seeing the beating and banging and the chrome horn come into play, I think you're going to see a very exciting battle at the front, because these guys are going to get very aggressive, and it's going to get very exciting if that starts happening.
And how aggressive do you get? You know, you got to move somebody up out of the way. You just can't take them out. These guys up front, if you don't just tune in on Sunday nights, if you pop it occasionally here and where elsewhere on iRacing Live and on the portal, these are names that you know. Matt Busa, Jordi Lopez Jr., Ray Fowler, Michael Conti, Brian Blackford. They have plenty of experience on the sim. They know how to move you. If they don't want you to win, you're not going to win. Question is, for Matt Busa, he wants Lopez and Alfala to fight so he can get out and far away. You don't want to have somebody in striking distance, literally, of that back bumper inside of those final 5 laps or so.
Certainly that will be the case here. The light's going to probably go off the pace car this time by, and yes, they indeed do. We'll rack them, stack them, get ready to fire them off just one more time. There should be 29 to go once we hit the start-finish line. 30 to go at the moment, so, 29 laps to settle this. I doubt we've seen our last caution or even our second to last caution. And as they say at short tracks, cautions breed cautions, and the way Alfala shown his hand on the last restart, I would not be surprised if he tries to time the restart and take Busa 3 wide to the inside.
The lights go out on the pace car, and they're going to get at least one more shot at it. Survey says probably not going to be the final time, but we'll drop the hammer with 29 laps to go. The pace car down and in. Matt Busa, familiar territory as the control car. American Ethanol, green flag waves. We go back at it, and a great jump for everybody inside the top 5. Jordi Lopez Jr. outside of the racetrack. He wants to challenge for the race lead. The 34 going to get clear once again. It's going to end up in a battle for P2. Meanwhile, behind him, Blackford and Conti duke it out for 4th.
2 Fords on the inside, a Toyota and a Chevrolet on the outside. The Ford of Alfala, he's going to stick his nose up into the second spot. He will clear the 40 of Jordi Lopez. Will drop down in front of the 37 of Brian Blackford. The 5 of Michael Conti going to take his peak antifreeze. Oh, trouble around the 46 of Anthony DeBarro. Gets tagged. 3, 4, 5 cars involved already. The caution flag waves on lap 173.
Anthony DeBarro, who had such a good night going, and in fact was running, we keep talking about the top 5, kind of under the radar, in the number 6 position at a good spot, just drifted up the hill a little bit, and then drove it in hard to the inside and just nicked him, and a bump and run, square on the bumper. That a little bit of incidental contact on the left rear, and really they didn't stand much of a chance of getting out of it. The one tried to slow down, but he got into him a second, a third time. It brought the yellow out. Hard and heavy damage for Joshua Hanner, the number 21 Ford. We had been talking about a couple of commercial breaks ago off the air that he had been making up good progress in 15th. He gets bounced around a little bit and torn up as well.
Yeah, tough luck for those drivers. And Anthony DeBarro, a great run nonetheless. He does very well on the Monday night series that you'll see here on LSRTV. Heavy damage to the rear end of that Boomtown Sim Chevrolet. And he's going to come down to the attention of his pit crew, because there's no way that he's going to be up to any kind of speed with that kind of damage on his car. And I really don't see any takers from the front half of the pack there, as it's pretty much go time. You pretty much got what you got. 25 laps to go when the field gets back around to the start finish line. I estimate we'll be going green with about 22 or 23 to go, and it's pretty much Matt and Ray going to be battling it up at the front of the field.
So we're going to do it again inside of the final 25 laps, Brian. We did it inside of the final 35. We did it inside of the final 30. We're going to do it inside of the final 25 this time. As Matt Busa, does having less laps on the counter make you feel any better every time you do this over and over?
As a driver, I can tell you that you get tired of going through this process of trying to get up to speed and get back through the gears and get cleanly into turn one. It's just very tiring, and it really takes a toll on you. It makes you have to go through that process over and over again, and you really just want to get into a rhythm. Going through and having 2 or 3 laps and then another caution, that's one of the worst things for a driver, especially when you're in Matt's shoes where you've had the best car all night long, you've led the most laps, you've pretty much dominated this race from start to finish. You start overthinking things. You start thinking, okay, is the guy behind me going to drive into me going into the corner and try to knock me out? You start thinking, am I going to miss a gear? Am I going to throw it away myself? And there's just so many things that start going through your head. You really just want to see this thing play out and go green so you don't have to keep going through this. If I'm in Matt Busa's shoes, this is really getting on my nerves, and I'm just ready for this thing to be over with.
Normally you like to see things get stretched out and, you don't get to talk about a couple of guys, because there have been good battles inside the top 15, inside the top 20. We really haven't got to talk a lot about those guys tonight, because up front it has been non-stop action. You could continue to see the standings go across the top of your screen on our LSRTV ticker, keeping tabs on the 24 cars that still sit on the lead lap up to this point. But it is indeed the Matt Busa, Ray Alfala battle on the front row. Jordy Lopez Jr. going to be on the inside of row 2 for this one. Alfala going to go to the outside of the front row. If there's one driver in the top 5, Justin, that I would say would rather be up top in this scenario, it might be Alfala. He's not shied away from it. He'll get a crack at it this time.
Yeah, going to have to see how well he gets out of that restart box, though, because Busa has spun the tires on the last couple of restarts. So you're going to have to wonder just how much wheel spin the 34 will have this time, or if he'll use the brake a little bit to control that as he accelerates through the gearbox. But, you know, you have it right. Alfala has been not afraid to use the outside line, but that has been on fresh tires within about the first 5 or 6 laps. We're about 15 laps into the run with about 5 or 10 green flag laps on him. I don't know if Alfala is going to get that good of a run. His best chance might be to go around on the outside, let Busa clear him through turns 1 and 2, and try to cross him over and rocket down the back straightaway to Busa's inside.
He's going to have to hope that he's got the inside of positioning to try to give it a shot. Pace car down and away. 22 laps to go at Richmond. Green flag back in the air, and they're almost right on each other's door for first and for third. Jordy Lopez Jr. trying to get to the back of the 34 to close up the inside so Alfala can't get it. The 27 with a nose to the right rear quarter panel of Busa. Going to keep it on the outside, and a quick caution. Problems behind, and it's a big accident down the back straightaway. Still wrecking. The 90 and the 41 goes slotted up to the outside of fence, and heavily damaged John Gorlinski sits wrong way forwards in the middle of the back.
Here, I believe the 80 of John Gorlinski could be involved, but it was basically head-on collision into the outside safer barrier for the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke, and indeed, I do see the 80 going 3 wide around the outside. The 8 of Adam Gilliland, the 90 of Greg Spears got a big piece of that. Adam Gilliland and E.J. O'Rourke got a big chunk of that. And at the tail end of that, we see an E.J. and the 90 of Greg Spears just bumper hook each other up into the outside safer barrier in turn 3.
It looked like Gorlinski was falling the back of the outside, and I think Greg Spears on the inside behind the wheel of the Bernani machine thought that they were too wide coming off the corner, and there was just no room for the 8 in the middle of the racetrack. The 90 gets turned up the hill, gets into the 80. The 41 is involved. We saw him get involved with the 90 after the yellow flag came out, which I believe was a little bit of secondary and yet incidental contact after the yellow flag had dropped. Those guys going to fall back to the tail end of the lead lap, if not at least 1 lap down. Looks like Gorlinski and Benefield going to fall 1 lap down as they try to get those those cars repaired. Again, at this point, you're really not caring about aerodynamics. You just want to stay out on the racetrack. Even if you've got a Kevin Harvick Chevrolet, stay out there. Just try to hope for a yellow and hang on to what you can get here, because really, gloves are off inside and out the final 20 laps. So Brian, final 30, final 25, now final 20. We continue to take laps off the board. And Matt Bussa in a big advantage, because he's obviously in that control car position he has from the entrance of that restart box to the exit of the restart box, in which the sim is actually going to drop the green flag to go. So he'll be on the gas before the green flag is actually displayed. It's the advantage that he gets as the control car. But he's been in the lead so many times tonight for so many restarts. You got to think he has to be near, if not at double-digit times. He's been in the #1 spot for a restart tonight, which sounds good, but you've almost shown everybody else around you all your tricks. It's going to be hard to surprise Ray Alfala at this point.
Yeah, and he had a hard time on that last restart. Ray Alfala actually timed that restart very nicely and stayed on his outside, and I was actually looking forward to that battle. If the caution didn't come out, I actually think Ray Alfala had the advantage, because he was going to be able to take that outside line away from Matt and really be able to pinch him down off the corner and hurt his momentum down the straightaways. I think, like you mentioned, he's ran out of tricks to show these guys, and he's going to have a hard time fending these guys off with all these restarts he's had. This goes back to my point on the last caution. You just don't want to have to keep going through this process. That's one of those things I didn't mention, but there's only so many different ways that you can restart a race before everybody kind of figures it out, and then you're kind of stuck just hoping that they don't figure it out to the point where we're able to pass you. And Ray Alfala was very close to that. If that caution didn't come out, I think we would have seen a different outcome in this race.
And we shuffle them up, put the names in the hat again, and we do it all over. We'll see if the lights go off at a pace car. This time, we pace at lap number 183 of 200 on the night. And the survey says, coming out of turn number 4, the lights are going to go out. So we double them up, and we get set for another exciting restart. If you're into exciting racing, tune in next Saturday on the 30th of April on LSRTV and iRacing Live. It's the 2016 United Sim Racing Truck Series All-Star Race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, presented by BNC Lawn and Landscaping Services and Simlutions Simulation Solutions. You can join the broadcast team at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern for the LSRTV pre-race show from Concord, North Carolina. A full lineup of LSRTV's upcoming broadcasts, including information on when you can find us for round 10 of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulting Cup Series, is on our website at livesimracing.com. Make it 16 laps to go. Pace car down and away. Matt Bussa, old hat this time. He'll wait a little bit longer. Green flag back in the air. 16 laps to go in Richmond.
Alfala gets a good restart to the outside of Bussa. He's going to let the 34 of Bussa clear his nose, and that's going to allow the 40 of Jody Lopez to kind of ruin the crossover effect that Alfala was trying to pull off. And it's Bussa by about a car length and a half now with turns 3 and 4. Lopez and Alfala wheel to wheel off turn 4.
Battle for second is great news for Matt Bussa. He's got to take advantage of it, though, digging to 3 car lengths to the good in turn number 1. Meanwhile, behind the 27 and the 40, it looks like Brian Blackford trying to stay to the inside of the 5, not going to be able to do it. So Michael Conti takes over P4, and he tries to go to the inside on Ray Alfala, the number 27, hanging tough on the outside, the 5 sideways, and a caution will drop again at 14 laps to go.
91 Brown Machine, the UPS Ford of Doy Woods, going to have a whole entire mess of sheet metal missing on that, as he was hard on the outside safer barrier. You're going to see the replay go up on your screen and see just how hard the 91 of Doy Woods did hit that safer barrier.
I know that "what can Brown do for you" used to be the slogan for UPS, and the 91 ended up at the outside fence and a little bit of net code in the corner, but I think the 91 did react to the contact. The 89 nonetheless, he did overdrive the entry a little bit. I think he saw the 89 Matt Quick driving it hard, left the inside open, and then tried to come back down, and the 89 Matt Quick pushed up a little bit of net code, sure, but they were kind of swinging at each other into the corner. It was an aggressive move by Matt Quick, and it ends up with Doy Woods hard into the outside fence. We had been talking a little bit earlier in this race about how Doy Woods had been doing so far this season. Not going to be a result that the 91 UPS Ford is going to be happy about. because it's going to kick them outside the top 20. And with that hard of a lick to the outside fence, I think you might be able to interpret that it may very well just end his evening. So we line him back up, we do it again, and I think we keep talking about how it's going to get worse and worse for Matt Busa, but I think, Justin, that was the best restart Matt Busa had all night. He got out in front, they were fighting for second, he was 4 car lengths clear. Yellow going to make him do it for about the 5th time in the last 25 laps all over again.
You know, but we can't also count out what the 27 Alfala will do. He will restart second row inside, and if you're Matt Busa, you need to drive away from not only Alfala, and you need to drive away from the 40 of Jordi Lopez, because this late into the run, basically when we take the green flag, you only have a couple of laps before the next flag will indeed end the race. And if you're the Busa, you need to drive it in a little deeper through turns 1 and 2 to protect yourself from a bump and run, or even worse, the dump and run that we've seen earlier today in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
The bump, the dump, and the run is something that we might see here inside of the final 10 laps. We do have exactly now 20 drivers on the lead lap. For the better part of this race, you've either been on the lead lap or you've been out of this race, but we do have Adam Gilliland 21st, 1 lap down. Doy Woods now 22nd and 3 laps down. I don't think he's going to get back out onto the racetrack, which means EJ O'Rourke going to finish 23rd behind him. John Gorlinski on the pit lane as well, not moving around in 10th. And Josh Parker might be able to get one more spot. He's 6 laps behind Gorlinski with about 8 laps left, and he's out on the racetrack in 25th position, 16 laps down to the race leaders. Total 10 laps to go this time. What's coming up? It might not be the last yellow on the night, but it could very well be the final restart. Going to be just 5 laps to go, and at that point, we see no more yellow flags and no more restarts. The caution can drop, it'll end there, but if we get a caution flag inside of the final 5, we don't get an opportunity to go back green, Brian. Restart going to be, I think, with 8 laps to go. Maybe the next time around the light's going to go out, we'll get an official number on that. But if it's at 8 laps to go, you either get a quick yellow, you go green to the end, or a yellow flag ends it. The 34 on Matt Busa, he doesn't care. He just wants this race to get over with because he's been constantly pounded on that steering wheel every time the yellow flag comes out. He has dominated this race, even when we saw Alfala taking shots at the lead, as well as a couple of guys earlier in this race. Josh Parker, a name that was up front. It really has been a comfortable night for the 34 of Matt Busa. Lights out on the pace car, going to be 8 to go.
Yeah, for Matt Busa, he's ready for this race to be over with. For the rest of these guys, they know exactly what you just said. If we get another quick caution, we get one more shot at a green. If we have a couple of laps and then a caution, this thing's over. So you're going to see everybody fighting for every position they can get in this next restart, which probably means we're going to see another quick caution. But hopefully these guys can sort it out cleanly. We'll go green to the end, and we'll have a great finish here to show everybody. Matt Busa is going to try to hold off Jordi Lopez and Ray Alfala, and he's done a good job all night. He's got to do it one more time.
Up front, the number 34, Gale Force Sim Racing Toyota. The challengers to the outside of P2, the P-Muddy Designs Toyota of Lopez, and the Alfala Tech Ford in third. Ray Alfala. Green flag from Richmond International Raceway. Just 8 laps to go in the ProGeek Cup Virginia 200, and you see side by side for the number 2 spot. They go at it again, and that nose-to-nose battle gives the advantage to your leader out in front by 2.5.
And that gap going to start to grow unless Alfala can clear the 40 of Jordi Lopez, and he will do slide across the nose of Jordi Lopez. Alfala up to P2, and that could not have been a better restart for the 34 of Matt Busa. But right behind them, Michael Conti, Brian Blackford, those guys all trying to trade paint to get around each other for that 4th spot, and the edge being given to the 5 of Conti, but the 37 of Blackford right there.
Blackford, who has been in a battle with Conti for the last 25 laps or so, as we've been focusing on the drivers in front. 37 sideways off of 4. It's going to allow Michael Conti to get the number 4 spot away. Chad Coleman going to take a swipe. There's contact. The 20 going to get turned by the 12. Caution flag will fly. They're going to come to take 5 laps to go, but they'll go in behind the pace car, and that might mean Matt Busa is going to have to deal with the one-lap restart. That will remain to be seen, but a yellow flag back in the air. And Chad Coleman has had a rough night. He's gotten into the back of a couple of people this time. He got hit in the back end, but the 12 of Casey Tucker moved up out of line, and that's just a simple case, Justin, as Brian was talking about. A lot of guys going for not a lot of real estate on a late race restart, a lot of contact. The 20 machine, the odd man out that ends up getting turned around.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, as many times as Chad Coleman has been the guy that dishes out the contact, this time he's just on the wrong end of it. And the replay going to go up on your screen. You're just going to see that contact between the 12 of Casey Tucker and the 20 machine of Chad Coleman. And it remains to be seen. I mean, I don't know. We may have a one-lap dash to the finish. We may not. There is a lap car, so 5 laps for a caution flag. We picked it up on 196. So my math says this one is over, and Matt Busa will be your winner. But odds are there could be a quickie caution, possibly setting up a one-lap record of Checkers dash.
It looks like 1 lap down is Adam Gilliland. The 8 machine is currently being waved by the field to get back up and around. The lights going to need to go off at a pace car to come and collect lap number 199. They can drop the green and do just 1 lap to go. There is no 2-lap minimum and no overtime in the sim, so you could get a 2-lap to go restart. You could get a 1-lap to go restart. In fact, the 1 to go, if you get to the start finish line, guarantees a yellow is not going to end it. There is no bonus time added per se in these races. Lap number 200 going to be the final time around, and it looks like that time as they come and take lap number 198, the drivers might be notified with a 2 to go signal. They're not. So congratulations pour in from the drivers around. We'll keep our eyes on the lights to get official word from race control, but it seems like this one going to go to Matt Busa for the second time of the year.
And he did what he needed to do on the last restart, if indeed we do not get lights off on the pace car this time around. And Busa, just a strong, dominant car all night long, and it was pretty much no doubt, except for the odd occasion on fresh tires when Alfala and Jordi Lopez were right there knocking on his back bumper. But indeed, as we see the pace car come across the start-finish line, winner of the ProGeek Cup Consulting Cup Series, Virginia 200 here at the Richmond International Raceway. And man, I was kind of hoping to see a 1-lap dash, but it was just the last 1 lap too late, Evan.
Yeah, the lights might even go off automatically this time by at the 1 to go, but the green flag will not come out at this point. And Matt Busa going to have to hang on for 1.5 more laps. And it'd be fun to see Alfala, Lopez, Conti, Blackford, somebody throw one more challenge, Brian, at Matt Busa, maybe steal the one away. It would make for good headlines, but I think if Matt Busa lost this race on all those restarts, it would be taking the win away from the car that deserves it. I think the 34, best car all night, put himself in the spot to win that race when it mattered.
Yeah, Matt Busa started on pole. He was fastest in practice. He led the most laps. He did everything that you're supposed to do if you're trying to win the race. He did everything right tonight, and came through all those restarts and battled through all those restarts to come home with the victory. And the best car truly won tonight. I don't think there's anybody in this field that's going to be able to disagree with that. He was the class of the field all night long. And Ray Alfala, I got to talk about him. All the short tracks we've ran this year, he has failed to win. He's won every other race, but when we went to the short tracks, he has not won. So I think we've seen Ray's kryptonite.
He'll get a P2. He will lose about 5 points in his championship lead to Matt Busa. It's still going to be over a race and a half to the good in the overall championship. But Matt Busa, for the second time this year, he'll take the checkered flag at a turn number 4 and a push from Ray Alfala. Win at number 2 at Richmond. The Virginia 200 goes to Matt Busa. That going to accompany his win at the Martinsville Speedway. So the second trip to a short track victory lane on the year for Matt Busa. At Bristol, also walked away with a top 10 finish. So when we talk about the hard to call him struggles, Justin, for Ray Alfala at the short tracks, he hasn't won at them, but a P2 last week, walking away with a P2 as well. Hard to say that he's not good at these places, but he hasn't broken through yet. Matt Busa gets his second win on the season, and well, again, it doesn't do a lot for him in the championship because Ray Ray just coming home 1 spot behind him. It's a good trip to victory lane for the 34, second time on the season. He's going to win one, and he's the only driver now, along with Ray Alfala, with multi-time trips to victory lane.
Yeah, had a good run for Matt Busa, showing his short track dominance as he burns it down on the front straightaway. You know, for Alfala, you have to wonder, you know, was it just that momentary, I wouldn't say a lapse of concentration, but where he decided better of taking it 3 wide, especially trying to shoot the gap between himself and Jordi Lopez and Matt Busa. So you really have to wonder for Alfala, when's he going to decide to go aggressive and just lay it all out on the line to try to take the win away from a good driver like Matt Busa or Jordi Lopez, especially here on these short tracks.
He showed 3 wide, was never able to get the car in that spot, and he'll settle for a P2 tonight. He was itching for one final shot at it, and Matt Busa going to do the reverse burnouts around the Richmond International Raceway. We'll talk with him, and we'll talk with the top finishers in the LSRTV post-race show in just a moment. We step away. Matt Busa, the winner of the ASCORS ProGeek Consulting Cup Series Virginia 200. The post-race is back in a moment right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Since 2010, the highest echelon of sim racing competition has focused on NASCAR and Grand Prix racing. 50 of the best drivers in the world doing battle for championship glory. Each man for himself, and even though there may be teammates on track, each driver is in command of his own destiny. Until now. 2016 sees the start of a new era in World Championship competition, with team racing getting its chance in the spotlight. No longer can one driver rule supreme, but you must rely on those with whom you share a car, a setup, a strategy. Endurance racing can be very different to other forms of motorsports, with races in this series lasting either 3 or 6 hours. Teams of 2 or 3 drivers, perhaps on opposite sides of the world, will share seat time, each having to collectively work towards one common goal. Crash out, and it's not just you who you let down. Officially sanctioned by SRO, it will be teams of drivers who will go head to head, car to car, rival to rival in the pursuit of a championship. And there's over $25,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs. Some of the world's biggest sim racing teams are represented. There's also a group of teams who haven't seen this stage before, who want to make their mark and say we can hang with the best. The team racing revolution is here. It's loud, it's exciting, and it lives on iRacing Live, starting April 23rd.
Welcome back to the virtual Richmond International Raceway for the post-race show for the ProGeek Cup Virginia 200, the 9th round on the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulting Cup Series comes to a close. Tonight's coverage presented as always by ProGeek Consulting LLC. Since 1998, ProGeek Consulting has been providing IT solutions to small and mid-sized businesses in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area. Their strong work ethic, attention to detail allows them to provide the best solutions for your needs. They specialize in a wide range of solutions, including infrastructure, networking, servers, storage, virtualization, security, virtual CIO, and IT strategy. ProGeek Consulting, proud sponsor of the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulting Cup Series. Let's take a look at the full field results tonight. Matt Boosie, your winner, awaits us down in Gatorade Victory Lane with Ray Alfala coming home P2. Another solid result for him, and Jordy Lopez Jr. inside of the top three this evening. Michael Conti with a P5, and Brian Blackford fighting for another top 5 result. Trey Edson in 6th, 7th for Jordan Hightower, Timmy Hill in 8th, Matthew Muse in 9th, and rounding out your top 10 was Casey Tucker.
11th going to go to the 83 of Adam Benefield. The 36 of Bentley Glazer will finish 12th. 13th to the 46 of Anthony DeBarro. 23 of J.D. Laird will finish 14th. 15th to the 89 of Matthew Quick. The 17 of Jesse Kovacs finishes 16th. 17th to the 20 of Chad Coleman. 18th to the 90 of Greg Spears. 19th to the 62 of John Wilco. And rounding out the top 20, the 24 of Joshua Hanner.
The last car finishing on the lead lap here tonight at Richmond, Adam Gillen, finishes in the 21st position. The rest of these drivers did not finish the race. They were involved in wrecks and did not complete this race. Doy Woods will finish 22nd, 14 laps down. Easier Work finishes 23rd. Josh Parker is 24th. John Gorlinski is 25th. Brad Patton takes home 26th. Paul Fugate finishes 27th. 28th goes to Justin Fuller. 29th goes to Tyler Dalton. And Tyler Tucker finishes in the 30th position.
And those drivers and the rest all finishing over 100 laps behind. Corbin M. Street in 31st. Austin Jones 32nd. Ken Baum Jr. 33rd. Mitchell Hunt 34th. 35th for Rich Rollo at a P36 at the back. Involved in the opening accident flag, it's going to be Garrett Smithley back 193 laps down. He rounds out your field from Richmond International Raceway. All the way up to the front, though, a very strong car, and he'll take the sweep on the evening. Fastest in practice, he qualifies for his 3rd pole and takes home his 2nd trip to victory lane. Matt Boosie, your winner tonight at the Richmond International Raceway. Matt, congrats to you, man. But walk us through those final 25, 30, 35 laps, however long we were going stop and start, because you were up front, you'd get a good restart, and then you'd have to do it over again. I bet those had you sweating.
Thank you. And yeah, those restarts were something. With the restart zone we had, it was pretty small, so Ray and Jordy, and I think Mike there, figured out when I would go, so I had to switch it up by like half a car length or so. But yeah, especially Ray, he was really good holding the outside, so that got pretty close at times, but luckily I was able to prevail with those restarts.
The outside looked like a fairly good lane for a couple of guys. Ray Fallon specifically, we were talking about, especially coming for those last 2 or 3 restarts when he ended up in P2, that he has not shied away from running on the outside all night long. How confident were you if you ended up on the inside and he had gotten to your top side? Because, well, we saw a couple people make things happen on the top. It never fully came into play, but some people used it as an option.
Yeah, I think it would have mattered how much the tires had worn out. On fresh tires, you definitely wanted the bottom side, and if you got to someone's outside in 1 and 2, you would be toast, but if you pinched them in 3 and 4, you can hang up there. And then as the run went on, especially in 3 and 4, you could really go up high, coming out of 4, be almost against the wall. And that was, unfortunately, we didn't really have any lawn runs. We had one, I think, a 40-ish lap run, and you saw that come into play, but otherwise the bottom was the way to go tonight.
It also looked like your car was a little bit better on those longer runs compared to somebody like a Ray Alfala or as well. We saw a lot there in the end of that race. Jordy Lopez Jr., after starting 11th, he had to deal a lot with Josh Parker earlier in this race. How did you feel your car stacked up against a couple of those guys? Because I would say that, well, you didn't lead the entire race. You were up there and you didn't stay out of the race lead for long, and it looked like you were pretty confident and comfortable with that race car leading laps. But, I mean, the intervals between you guys up front, we really never saw, partly due to the fact that, as you just mentioned, we really never got a long green flag stretch. But the guys inside the top 5, they were never more than 3 or 4 tenths of a second behind you. Do you think that maybe being in front of them gave you the advantage, or was your car just a little bit better and able to hold them off?
Well, I think on the short runs, we were all very close in speed there. And then the longer the run got, I may have had a slight advantage, because the way I would drive turn 3 and 4, I would charge the corner really deep and then beat up the right front, and I would drift up to about the 3rd lane in turn 4 to get a nice smooth run off. And that smooth run off helped me save the right rear tire, I think, a lot more than other guys did who were exiting on the low side. Because if you exit on the low side, especially on old tires, you can be spinning the right rear almost all the way down the front stretch. So I think the differences in line helped me a little bit on the long run for the one long run we had.
You're able to shut Ray Alfala out of victory lane for the first time for 2 consecutive weeks in 2016. That goes, and you have to note as well, while you do say that, he had a P2 last week and he has a P2 this week. So it's looking and proving very difficult for you, even though you get the win here tonight, to be able to make up some ground on him in the championship standings. But it seems like you like the short tracks, because you're able to get into victory lane at Martinsville and now into victory lane at Richmond. A completely different ball game going into next week's race at the Talladega Super Speedway. Those ones are always a crapshoot. It's a plate race that comes with an entirely different styled race that you guys have had to do since you kicked off the season at Daytona International Speedway. What's the plan of attack? Being behind by 60 some odd points, but knowing that you have been in victory lane twice, you've got the most poles out of anybody else that are making that and that momentum work for you guys.
Yeah, then next week I'm not sure how much momentum I'll be able to carry in Talladega, but I'm not sure where we race after that, but hopefully the momentum carries on to there. And if it's a mile and a half, Ray has the advantage, I feel like, especially on long runs. He's just really good at saving tires over the run and still being fast on a short run. And I feel like that advantage then goes to me on the shorter tracks, like you said. So hopefully we get a nice balance of half short tracks and maybe half mile and a half tracks for the rest of the season.
Well, you're going to be on an emotional roller coaster, because after Talladega, we go to an intermediate at Kansas, and then we head to Dover for the 12th round to close out the first segment of the 2016 racing calendar. Matt, you're giving them hell, you're putting them to them, and it's your second time at a victory lane, the only driver, including Ray Alfala, to have now multiple wins in 2016. Before we let you go, we'll let you give a call to the sponsors, the shout-outs, all the good people behind the scenes. Who do you want to give a thank to?
I'll give a shout-out to Jesse Kovacs and Kovacs Financial Group. He just decided to come on board for 2 NPAS races this year, actually. And then thanks to Gale Force Racing for all the work we do there. Thanks to LSRTV for broadcasting, and Schoenberg and JD Laird for running this league.
Well, we appreciate you sticking around and chatting with us after a good 2 hours of hard racing out there, Matt. Congratulations on the win. Good luck Tuesday, and then we'll see you next weekend at Talladega.
Thank you.
It is Matt Boosie, your winner tonight for the virtual Richmond International Raceway. The driver that comes home in second, well, it's not a win, but another P2, continues to pad the stats. Ray Alfala with a second place tonight. Justin Rose now is caught up with him down on the pit lane.
Alongside the driver, the number 27 Alfala Tech Ford, Ray Alfala. You came up a little bit short tonight. You had an opportunity to take Boosa 3 wide there, once through the middle, and then on the same lap in same corner, you try to dive it down low. With a finish like this, are you really left wondering what might have been?
Not really. I mean, overall, it was a pretty good night for the Alfala Tech team. Yeah, I had a few chances there, but I didn't want to just kind of ruin Matt's night. He'd run a great race. Yeah, late race restarts here. The high line can work, but kind of into a run, so you don't have much of a hope up high. I got a really good restart on one of those restarts up in second place, and I was side by side with Matt for a while, but then the yellow came out again. So, but overall, I mean, I'd say we finished probably where we ran.
you really didn't lose much throughout the night. You had a couple battles with drivers like Justin Fuller and also the 40 of Jordy Lopez. You did a very good job weaving through those guys. And like you said, you finished where you started. But looking forward ahead next week to Talladega, you have a huge points lead. You know it's a big crapshoot. Can we expect to see the 27 team end up in victory lane?
It could happen. I mean, we ran well at Daytona, and although I think the racing is going to be quite a bit different from Daytona, probably won't have as much handling and whatnot. So I'm not really sure what to expect, but yeah, we'll probably try. Probably have like a 43 car field there. Everybody loves to go to Talladega, and I was pleasantly surprised. We had a pretty nice field today, and then the racing was pretty clean. And then there at the end, as every short track goes, people just kind of try to get a little too much. But overall, I thought it was a pretty decent race, and Talladega should be fun next week.
You have 5 wins through the first 9 races as we come to the end of segment 1. Can we expect a similar performance going into segment 2, or are you just still trying to figure out the newer low downforce package and really just look to see you try to keep maintaining that points lead as we go forth?
Yeah, just focus on the rest of this season. Next season, I know I'll miss a few races in the middle of the summer, so I probably won't be in contention for the points. So yeah, just pretty much focus just on the next 3 races.
Can't do it by yourself, Ray. Who's responsible for putting you up on the middle step of the podium here tonight?
Yeah, again, go to followtech.com if you're looking for a gaming computer. Also, Slip Angle Motorsports, of course, and Wendell Scott Foundation, Samson X, and Snowcone Productions. Also, shout out to all my teammates, Casey Tucker, Brian Blackford, and Josh Hanner raced tonight as well. So Casey and then Josh, first race in the league. So, looking forward to racing with them in the future. And, next week should be fun.
And that's the driver who finished second, Ray Alfalo, the 2-time NASCAR Pecan Free Series champion. And back up to you, Evan. Great racing here tonight. Yeah, we were marred by a bunch of late race yellows, but still, it was pretty exciting because even though Busa appeared to have this in hand, it was never really clearly without doubt.
Yeah, they kept him on his toes, and he even said in those last couple of restarts that he would have easily gone without them, but he's able to fight through, take home the checkered flag at Richmond International Raceway. And I think it's fun to talk with Busa and Alfalo, Brian, because you can take the numbers and you can paint 2 very different pictures. We can say it's the first time that Ray Alfalo has been shot at a victory lane 2 weeks consecutively. He has yet to win on any of the short tracks, and that can make it sound very bad. You can also say that Ray Alfalo last week and this week, while he didn't win at Bristol and Richmond, now has back-to-back second-place finishes. He still has 5 wins on the season. He's still 60 points in front of Matt Busa despite losing to the 34 tonight. So you can take every stat that you throw out there with a grain of salt. Busa gets the win. It's his second on the year. But if Ray Alfalo continues to run this strong, and again, talking about how longevity tonight, around 9 of 12 in the opening segment, looking forward to after segment 1, 18 more races and 2 more segments to make up 2016. Alfalo might not be around for all of them, so the battling might not be without gain for Busa.
Yeah, he's going to miss a couple of races, as he said, but if he continues on the path that he's been doing now, he might be able to afford to miss a couple of races and still be in contention for that season-long championship. He's got such a big lead right now. If he continues doing that, it's going to continue to add up and could give him that buffer where he can miss a couple and still be in contention. It's amazing that we can sit here and say, Ray Alfalo finishes second, he had a bad night. It's incredible because he's so good, you expect him to win week in and week out, and when he does finish second, it's kind of like it blows your mind. And he's done that a couple of times now, like you said, and it's been at the short tracks where we haven't seen him win. He said last week when I spoke to him at Bristol that he just does not feel comfortable on the short tracks, but he's still running up there and finishing in the top 3, which says volumes for how good of a driver he is. That explains why he is the 2-time Peak Anti-Free Series champion that he is, and why he wins so often, and why he's doing such a good job in this series. He's just one of the best out there. And Matt Busa, he's one of the best on short tracks. I've raced with all of these guys from one time or another, and Matt Busa is absolutely incredible on the short tracks. He does it every single time we go there in the NASCAR iRacing series and just in the other official series. He's just one of the best on the short tracks, and he showed it at Martinsville. He did it again tonight.
So we look forward on the calendar, Talladega next Sunday night. Going to be followed by Kansas, going to be followed by Dover. 3 more exciting races in the opening stint on the 2016 ASCORS ProGeek Consulted Cup Series calendar. And us at LSRTV, we're not shy to some super speedway racing. You can find it every Friday night here on LSRTV. Justin, it's going to be fun, though, to see these guys take on their second plate track on the season.
Oh, it certainly will be, and like I was conversing with Ray Alfala, it kind of is a little bit of a crapshoot, but then again, the draft package has been tweaked somewhat, and, we're going to a much wider racetrack than Daytona. So really, you do have your chances to see a regular 3 wide and maybe even 4 and 5 wide at times, especially once they hit the super stretch at Talladega. It's really anybody's guess what's going to happen. But as that stands, Evan, I really think that Talladega, you are probably going to see another photo finish, especially in the ASCORS ProGeek Consulting Cup Series with the quality of drivers that they have on hand.
And we hope to see you next Sunday and every night here on LSR TV. For more information, you can go to our website, find a complete broadcast schedule at www.livesimracing.com. Also, make sure to give us a like on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest information. That's going to be facebook.com/livesimracingtv. So until next time, on behalf of the entire team at LSR TV and for the broadcast crew tonight, for Brian Macklin, Justin Rose, now for myself, Evan Pasoko, and for LSR TV's producer Cisco Scaramuza, we want to congratulate Matt Busa for his second trip to Victory Lane, and they'll go to the high banks of the Talladega Super Speedway next Sunday night right here on iRacing Live at LSR TV, the voice of sim racing. Good night. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this event may not be disseminated without express written consent of Live Sim Racing TV.